That's nice. Well, you know what, guys? We just spent the first 4 minutes talking about what Trump has said about the war. And so, you know what? Maybe it doesn't matter that we didn't have audio, because the truth is it doesn't make any difference. The truth is it doesn't make any difference what Trump says about the war, because he says one thing one day, he says a different thing the next day. And now Congress is expressing frustration because they're getting a different message from the White House. They're getting a different message from the Pentagon. They're getting a different message from the Armed Services Committees. So nobody's getting consistent messages. So you know what? Yeah, you didn't hear that first opening monologue about what Trump is saying or isn't saying, but it doesn't matter, because he doesn't even know what he's saying half the time. He's contradicting himself in a single speech, in one speech, not from one day to the next or one event to the next. In one single speech, he contradicts himself. So how do you explain that? Has he lost his mind? Is it intentional? Does he just not care? Does he just talk and it doesn't matter? Is it all just a TV show to him? We got all the news on the war and then some other stuff coming up today.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
So as you know, we were off yesterday, and I was speaking at a panel in Dallas. I was packing up some stuff. It was just a day trip. And I was packing up some stuff, and I was looking for a day bag, and I realized I didn't really have one. You know, I've kind of, you've got your road trips maybe for a small bag, and then you got your big travel bag. But for just a little day trip, I realized I didn't have a bag. And I thought, well, what am I doing? I need to go over to my friends at Silent and get myself a bag that also serves a dual purpose as a Faraday protection bag. slnt.com/Owen is where you can find all their bags. Very sleek, very stylish. You won't even know it's a Faraday protection bag. You won't even know that. The different types of bags they have: backpacks, crossbodies, dry bags. They got all kinds of different stuff. And if you don't want the government, or who knows who, tracking your location, your cell phone, your computer, whatever other tech you might have in your bag, if you don't want to be tracked and traced by the government, if you want to go silent, then you need to get one of these bags. slnt.com/Owen. And I'm telling you, they're sleek, they're stylish. It hit me yesterday because I just wanted to put some stuff in a small bag to take a short day trip. And I just like, wow, I really don't have a little day bag. I had to go check out the backpacks or some of the other stuff they have at slnt.com/Owen. Plus, you don't want to be tracked and traced everywhere you go. We're all kind of sick of that too. So you get a nice, sleek, stylish bag. By the way, it's military grade Faraday protection, just so you know. And with coupon code Owen, you can get 15% off at checkout. That's right. All you got to do is go to slnt.com/Owen. Check out all of their different bags. And as you know, this is how you can avoid being tracked and traced 24/7. While it's in that bag, your phone, your computer, anything else, it cannot be tracked. It cannot be traced. No cellular, no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, no GPS. Total protection, totally off the grid. So, serves two purposes. A nice bag that you can use for a day trip, a backpack, and you can block all the tracers and trackers from monitoring your every move. And right now at slnt.com/Owen, that's slnt.com/Owen, you can get 15% off plus free shipping on qualifying orders. That's slnt.com/Owen.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Well, hey guys, how you doing on this Thursday? How do you feel about opening day in baseball? How do you feel about that? I'm not really a big baseball fan anymore. I think the corporate interests have ruined the game. But you know what? It's a good sight to see. Something about it just feels good. Lets you know that summer is around the corner. Lets you know that better weather is ahead. So it's just kind of symbolic. I don't really care much for the modern state of the game or the MLB, but I do like just seeing it. I like seeing the game being played in the sun. Reminds me that summer is right around the corner. If you're in Texas or other parts of the southern states, you already feel like you're in summer. You already feel like summer's already here. And I am not complaining. I've got to tell you, I'm not complaining about the weather. I am going to complain about Trump probably a little bit. I know. But I got all of these clips from the last couple of days, and it's not Trump contradicting himself from one speech to the next. It's the same speech. He's contradicting himself now. And you're starting to get members of Congress that are expressing frustration. And they're saying, well, we're getting one message from the Pentagon. We're getting another message from the White House. Then we go to our different committees, the Armed Services Committee, and they give us a completely different message. So we don't know what's going on. And now they're going to be asking us for a vote on $200 billion to support this war. And yet we can't even get messages that provide any sense of what's going on or what the agenda here is. And that's, I think, a good sense of where the American people are at as well. You know, let me address kind of the state of this transmission, generally speaking. And you've probably seen that a lot of the clips that get posted on that Clips account are starting to get a little more traction. And so, you know, you get the haters that are still stuck in the Trump cult. And then you get the people that have broken free or are kind of just not sure what to do. And they see it and they're like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one. Well, we've got some polls today. We've got some other stories as far as the popularity of Trump, as far as the momentum of MAGA, or whatever remains of it. But, you know, yesterday, and I don't know when the panel discussion is going to air. I think it might be a week or so. The panel I was on yesterday, and it was millennials versus boomers. And we're all on, let's say, the political right. Generally speaking, policy-wise, we're all on the political right. And so what we found out was most of the millennials and the boomers agreed almost 100%. I mean, a very, very high percentage here agreed on domestic policies and what needs to be happening and what is happening and what isn't happening. There was very little space between the millennials and the boomers as far as domestic policy was concerned. The big divide, the big gap, which I don't think is a big secret, but it is expressed pretty clearly in the panel, is the big divide between right-wing boomers, right-wing millennials, or you could just say the older generations, younger generations on the right, is foreign policy, and more directly Israel. You could also say conspiracy theories. You know, do you question 9/11? Do you question the moon landing? But that's maybe a separate topic. But here is something else that was consistent. And I don't know if I would say I was surprised by it, because I wasn't even thinking about this necessarily heading in. I told a couple people this and they were surprised. And even having the conversation with them, with the boomers on the panel, which, by the way, you know, it's really such a great thing to do, but I'll get to that in a second. All three of them, so it was 3 millennials, 3 boomers, all 3 of the boomers are also kind of off the Trump train. all three of the boomers were also like, yeah, this Trump ain't doing what he said he would do. We're not pleased with Trump either. And I'm sitting there scratching my head. And, these are more, and I don't want this to sound condescending, but these are kind of more establishment type right-wing boomers. And by establishment, I mean, they've been around a long time. They've been following news, following politics, doing news, doing politics. One of them even worked in a White House. So they've been around. They have a lot of experience that is worthy of respect. And at first, when it kind of came up, it looked like, I don't know if I would say that they were nervous, but there did seem to be a relief when it kind of came out that everyone on the panel was sick of Trump, that everyone on the panel felt betrayed by Trump. That was universal. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's my real world experience. When I'm talking to friends or family, for the most part, it's people are sick of Trump and they've got these issues with Trump. They think that Trump has betrayed them. That's my real world experience. And then you go in and it's just nonstop propaganda from the same people, from the same sources, from the same outlets. And so, and maybe it's like a curveball, right? It's like if you see 10 straight fastballs and then they throw the changeup or the curveball, whatever, that's guess we'll do an MLB theme today with opening day. But it's like that's the pitch that you swing and miss at. And so this new propaganda in the Trump 2.0 administration, it's the curveball. And I don't think people, they haven't seen it yet. They don't understand that this is a curveball coming at them, a changeup coming at them. And they think, oh, now that Trump is in, we're not like when Biden was in, or we're not dealing with the propaganda anymore. And it's like, no, it's still there. It might be worse. And the left, the anti-Trump left, who can come out here, and, I haven't really seen them doing this, to be honest, because a lot of them interact with me now. But I've not had one of the anti-Trump leftists try to rub it in my face that Trump betrayed us. I've not experienced that, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I haven't experienced that. And so my point is, I guess these anti-Trump leftists could come out and say, well, we told you so. We warned you. We told you so. And I don't know. There's not really much I could say. I wouldn't push back too much. I'd just say, okay, well, I see it now. I look at it a little differently, though. I look at it as a fool me once, shame on me, or excuse me, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm not going to be fooled twice. So the first administration, okay, well, maybe we're not sure. Things were going good. And then there was COVID and the stolen election. And you're like, okay, well, we all kind of got fooled a little bit, but we won't get fooled again. So I'm not going to do fool me twice, shame on me. So there's a lot of fool me twice, shame on me. But because of the propaganda in the media, because of the anti-left or anti-Trump left propaganda for 8 years, now it's like the boy that cried wolf, or it's like provided this hedge of protection. And so that's why this new Trump cult really believes it's 100%. That's why this new Trump cult doesn't understand that they're still getting hit with propaganda and lies and deception, because they just feel like all of it is just fake anti-Trump BS. That's how they look at it. And so now that it's legitimate, now that there's legitimate reasons for people on the right to stand up and say, hey, this isn't what we voted for. Hey, this is not good. Hey, this is corrupt. This is outright corrupt. They can't hear it because to them, they just think it's more anti-Trump garbage from the radical left that was spewing propaganda for 8 years. And so now that it's real, they don't know what to do. Now that the polls and the reality of Trump's popularity, that it's going down, they don't believe it. They just still think it's all anti-Trump propaganda. They haven't realized the boy that cried wolf all these years, now the wolf is actually here. They don't realize that. And quickly on the one thing with the boomers too. And I think that this is true. And I said this at the end of the panel. The one thing I think is fair to say about the boomers, at least the political ones, is that they do not run from a debate. And I do respect that. I've noticed a lot of people in politics like to avoid confrontation, avoid debate, avoid discussion. So that's just, I'm curious to see where it goes, because that's where the real debate is, quite frankly. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a generational thing, but I think it just fits. You know, these things just, they kind of just mesh right now. But the real debate is happening on the American right, and that's the truth. That's the truth. The real political debate about what needs to happen in this country and where it's going is happening on the American right in this moment. That's what's going on. So moving on from that, they can't believe Trump is actually unpopular. They think it's just anti-Trump propaganda. They can't believe Trump is corrupt. They just think it's anti-Trump propaganda. And so they're kind of stuck in this loop like the boy that cried wolf, but now the wolf is here, but they don't believe it because there's been so many false cries over the years. I look at it like this. I've got all of these Trump clips. I can't even keep up, which, I mean, I guess you could say is impressive for the old man, although he was falling asleep in a meeting today. But I've said before, I don't really, I'm not so upset about the napping, to be honest with you. Let the guy take a nap. But it's just become a TV show. It is just the Trump TV show is all it is. It's just Trump TV now. I think that's how they approach it. I really do. I feel like they just approach this like it's a TV show. And I suppose that's just natural when you've got the press obsessed with you all day long and you kind of are a showman. You kind of are a TV guy. You do, you wear the makeup, you do the showmanship. So it's like, okay, it kind of fits. It just feels like that's what this is now. It feels like we're just watching Trump TV every day. And there really is no script. It's just wake up, cake up, makeup. That's what we're going to say. Trump's routine. Wake up, cake up. It's a makeup they cake on his face. And then just get in front of the media and just yap. Just start talking. Just talk. It's like, does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Is it consistent? Who cares? Just sit up there and just talk. So it feels like that's where we're at. And I see this other buzz phrase, let's call it, because I get it a lot. They say, oh my gosh, you're a liberal. You don't like Trump. You're a liberal now. You don't support Trump. You're a leftist now. Well, hold on a second. You realize that supporting Trump is not a policy, right? Like, do you realize that? It's actually amazing to watch. I guess it was always that way, but now they've just been isolated. So it's clear to see. The average Trump supporter now is very low IQ. They're not very politically informed people. They don't really have much political context. They're pretty much geopolitically ignorant. And so you see the average Trump supporter now it's like the lowest IQ base I've seen in politics. I mean, it rivals the Biden support, to be honest. It's like the Biden supporters kind of knew that they were playing a game. The Biden supporters kind of knew it was all kind of an act, and they kind of knew it deep down. These Trump supporters really believe it. And so now that actual political intellectuals and philosophers, however you want to say it, that supported Trump, now that they're off the Trump train, the average IQ has dropped into the double digits now. And so you can see it. So it's like you have to explain these concepts because this is how dumb they are. You don't support Trump, so you're a liberal. You realize, okay, supporting Trump is not a policy. You realize that. That's not a policy. You're talking about a cult of personality. Supporting Trump is not a policy. And if you want to look at the policies of Trump, quite frankly, they're more leftist, more globalist than they are conservative and nationalist. That is just a fact. I see Trump up there. I've got the clip today, and he's talking about saving money. Is this a joke? Saving money? Bro, you've put the country in more debt than any other president. It's not even close. It's there. You don't even have a close second. And you're talking about how you're saving the country money? Like, is that a joke? Does he even know what he's saying? Does he even know the numbers? So he's not conservative. There's nothing conservative. You say, well, he's secured the border. Well, why is that a conservative thing? Isn't that basic law enforcement? Isn't that basic national security? I guess it's a conservative thing now. There's no conservative economic policy. There's no nationalist foreign policy. It's globalism now. Trump's a globalist. Trump is definitively a globalist. And I don't know if I would say he's a liberal, but he's not a conservative. You don't support Trump, so you're a liberal. Supporting Trump is not a policy. If you want to talk about policy, then we can talk about policy. But you guys can't talk about policy. You're not smart enough. All you know is Trump. That is it. All you know is Trump and different ways to massage him and clean up after him and worship him and obsess with him. That's all you guys know. And none of that is policy. That's cheerleading. That's cultish. So anyway, all of that to say, I'm just curious. I suppose I can look at the chat here. Like I said, I wasn't like shocked, but in the moment it was kind of a, wow, this is really where we're at. When the three boomers on the panel agreed with the three millennials that Trump betrayed us and we're not happy with the administration, it's just like everywhere I go. And that's not to say there aren't people that still support Trump. That's not to say I don't know people that still support Trump. But it's like everywhere I go, the support is way down. Everyone I talk to, the support is way down. And the people that do still support him, that's fine. But you can tell they're kind of like, they're like reluctant about it. They're hesitant. They're not exactly proud. Their chest isn't up and out. It's like, yeah, I still support Trump. It's like, yeah, well. It's like, yeah, at least he's not a Democrat. It's like, well, the Republicans are better than Democrats. Like, oh, well, we got to let him finish the job. So then I see, they say 100% support from MAGA. It's like you haven't seen a poll that rigged in your life. You have never seen a faker poll in your life than 100% MAGA supports Trump's war in Iran. And it's funny because I will bring up these other polls here in a second. And you can tell they're massaging the messaging, because when you actually crunch the data, you realize that the messaging doesn't make any sense. So I suppose we can get into it now. But before I do that, what did I say yesterday? I'm sorry. It was Tuesday. Who remembers? Oh, I'm getting distracted by opening day stuff. Good for you guys if you're at opening day. Have fun out there. I shouldn't look at my phone, but it was my dad rubbing it in. We used to go to opening day together. Sorry for the distraction. I blame my father. Are you listening? Is my dad listening to the show? At the ball game? That's pretty cool, actually. So, okay, let me get back on track. What was my opening monologue on Tuesday? Who remembers? Class, listen up, class. Who remembers the opening monologue from Tuesday? What did I tell you? I said that morale on the Hill was down. Now, I talked about it in 3 separate groups, but one of the groups I talked about was on the Hill, the Republicans on the Hill. And I told you in my opening monologue Tuesday that morale was down. Now, this story pops in Politico today. I just want to go home. Despair settles over the Capitol as DHS deal hopes evaporate. Raw feelings have replaced the optimism that sprouted up around bipartisan talks earlier this week. And these quotes, like this one in the lead, I just want to go home, that's from a Republican. And they said an unnamed Republican. And so this whole story is about how frustrated and sick of it the Republicans are. They don't want to be there. Their morale is low. Now, what did I tell you? I told you this Tuesday, guys. And I told you again, I'm not sitting here trying to act like I've got some top special sources and stuff like that. I don't lean on my sources. I don't rely on my sources, but I told you Tuesday that, you know, I reached out to some people that are in the know. I reached out to some people that I know can give me the real deal about what's going on right now. And they all said the same thing. They all said morale is low. They all said the whole Republican Party is scared to death of Trump. They're scared that they'll try to massy him if they say anything negative. They're scared their campaign funding will get cut off. They're scared Marian Adelson will put $20 million in a race to have them unseated. So they're all scared of Trump. They don't know. They don't even know what to do as far as policy with the votes and the war. They know it's all unpopular. They don't know what to do. I told you morale was down. And now 2 days later, Politico is publishing the same story. So we know what we're talking about here. We know what we're talking about here. Now, here's the polls. And this is a Fox News poll. So it's not like you can claim that this is some leftist rigged poll, which, you know, nowadays, whatever you think about polling, sometimes they like a CNN poll, sometimes they don't. Polling data, you know, it is what it is. I prefer real world polling data, but it has some value, or otherwise they wouldn't do it. Fox News poll, voters oppose action in Iran, but give U.S. military positive marks. Well, yeah, we're patriotic. We support our military, but that doesn't mean we like all the decisions that are made. So you look at some of these numbers. All voters, 42% support military action against Iran. So that is a less than majority that support the war in Iran. And I don't think that surprises anybody. But this is where it gets interesting to me. If you go down here, President Trump's job performance. Overall, 41% approval rating, 59% disapproval rating. Okay. But notice this. On foreign policy, Trump is at 38% approval rating, 62% disapprove. And on Iran, specifically, 36% approval rating and 64% disapprove. So again, this is a Fox poll, and you can accept polling data, you know, however you would like. But I see this, and it shows how unpopular this foreign policy is. And it reasserts my belief that I've stated many times that the one thing that is swinging elections in this country is foreign policy. Now, 2024 might have been an anomaly in that phenomenon simply because Biden won on a stolen election. And then, you know, he was the auto pen president, as they say. So it was kind of an anomaly. But no, the foreign policy during the Bush years was unpopular, so people voted for Obama. The foreign policy in the Obama years was unpopular, so people voted for Trump. It seems to be the issue that swings it. It really does. I believe it is the one issue that swings the pendulum back and forth is foreign policy. And you can see that even people amongst Trump's base, and this is why when you see these other polls, this is why this poll stuck out to me. Because you see these other polls and they say, oh, there's overwhelming percent. There's an overwhelming percentage of people that support Trump's military actions in Iran. But when you look at the polling data, it shows that actually, no, even Trump supporters don't fully support the war in Iran. And that's why this is going to swing things back to the Democrats. And then people will say, well, why would you want to give the country back to the Democrats? Why would you want to do that? Why would the Democrats do that? There seems to be a missing element in this conversation. And it always happens in politics, to be fair. This missing element is constantly forgotten. Not everybody thinks like you. Not everybody votes like you. That is a fact of politics. So no matter how ardent of a Republican voter you are, no matter how obvious you think it is that Republicans are better than Democrats, there is someone else out there that has the exact opposite view as you, and they are going to vote. That is a fact. That is an undeniable fact. So there's this weird, like, hubris mentality that just because I believe the Republicans are better, they should win every election. Well, that's just not how it works. I could even agree with you that Republicans are better. That's just not how elections work. Now, this whole SAVE Act business is going to be, it could be a deciding factor in the elections. It could be. Now, I look at it, Trump is so unpopular now, I don't know. I think the Democrats could win legitimately without stealing. But you have to take into account all the illegal votes that they get. I mean, it's pretty clear that's how they've been able to stay in power. I think the gerrymandering, along with the illegal votes, is how Democrats are able to win. And without it, I don't know if they could win. But now it's like, no, I could see Democrats winning legitimately. But who knows what happens with the SAVE Act? That's all kind of hanging in the balance right now. But it's this weird idea like, oh my gosh, if you don't support Trump, the Democrats are going to win. And again, I find it flattering that you think I have more influence than Donald Trump, or name it, whoever it is that they're blaming it on. You know, they blame Tucker, they blame Fuentes, they blame Candace. You guys are going to put Democrats in charge. Like, well, it's very flattering you think we have more influence than Trump, but you understand how delusional you are? Do you have any idea how delusional you are? This has nothing to do with any podcaster. This has nothing to do with any show host. This has everything to do with Trump breaking his promises and everything to do with Trump getting us back into the Middle East. That's what's going to cost us the election. It doesn't matter what I say. I could be out here banging the drums for Trump all day long, and then people would just look at me like I'm an idiot, I'm a phony. So I'm not going to do that. But I could do that, and it wouldn't make any difference. Carlson, Owens, Fuentes, all of them, they could all be total support of Trump. They could all say, go vote Republican. It's going to be great. And it wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't change anything. The people have already decided. The people already feel betrayed. The people are already ticked off. The people have already had enough of Trump. It has nothing to do with people that have a microphone. We are just reflections of the people. I am just a voice of America. That's all I am. I'm just America's anchorman. I'm just doing play-by-play here. So there's this weird delusional thing that they're getting ahead of this, and they're going to blame all of these members of the media when the Republicans lose the midterms. And it's like, we aren't the ones that stopped the deportations. We aren't the ones that are involved in the Middle East again. We aren't the ones spending tens of billions. It'll be hundreds of billions of dollars in the Middle East again. We aren't the ones doing that. That's your boy. That's you guys. You guys are the ones that are costing us the midterms. And so it's hilarious for you to point the fingers when everybody knows it's you. And now you've become so cringeworthy. Now you guys have become like, nobody wants to sit next to you. Like, nobody wants to be next to you guys. You guys are so embarrassing and so pathetic and so cringeworthy. Now it's like, I want to sit on the opposite side of the cafeteria as you. I don't even want to be anywhere near you guys. But what about the midterms? Yeah, good luck. Yeah, what about the midterms? Good luck. You said you didn't need us. That's ironic. This isn't limited to the United States of America. In Argentina, very similar story. Argentina, Brazil, they ran very nationalistic, kind of anti-establishment type candidates, and they've all betrayed their voters too. They're burning Malay effigies in Argentina. They're protesting the Japanese prime minister every day. So this happened in America. This happened in Argentina. This happened in Japan. Strong nationalists. We're gonna help our country again. We're gonna put our country first again. And then they get in there and it's bad foreign policies, open borders, breaking all the promises. And now their voters have turned on them. So the American voters have turned on Trump that voted for him. The Argentinian voters that voted for Malay have turned on him. The Japanese voters that voted for the prime minister, they have turned on her. And it's all because they did the same thing. Now, this is where you'll have some people that always will go down this slide, and maybe it's the reality, but they all got in bed with the Israeli lobby. They all got in bed with the Israeli lobby and the Zionist agenda and turned their back on their people. I don't know if it's simple as that. I'm not going to pretend like I have the on-the-ground feel of things in Argentina. I'm not going to pretend like I have the on-the-ground feel of things in Japan. Obviously, I do in America, but I see a lot of similarities. And they keep telling you, oh, this war with Iran is great. Everybody supports it. It's got to be the most delusional thing I've ever seen. It's got to be. And they try to do this. They try to play this shell game with you. They try to play this straw man game with you, and they say, oh, well, you support Iran. You support the regime. You support the mullahs. You support the supreme leader. It's like, when did I ever say that? I don't, this has nothing to do with me. Do I look Iranian? Do I look like an Iranian? You support Iran. When did I say that? These are the straw man games that they play in this debate. But it's like, no matter where you go, where do you even find the support? So this is the Charlie Kirk show, still on air. It's very strange. It's very strange that the Charlie Kirk show is still going on, but I guess that just shows it was never, Charlie Kirk was never a man, I guess is the message here, that they're still running the show. It was just simply an output. Charlie Kirk was not a person to these people. He was an outlet. He was a platform. And to me, and this isn't even to blame anybody, this isn't even to point fingers or name names. It just seems like somebody's making these decisions. And I don't know if it's Erica. I don't know if it's the donors. I don't know who it is. But somebody's making these decisions to run Charlie's show still under the Charlie Kirk name. And to me, it's very dehumanizing. It's very dehumanizing for Charlie. If you want to run it and call it, Turning Point USA or something, then okay. But to call it the Charlie Kirk show still to this day, it's like, are you going to do the Charlie Kirk show forever? I mean, what are we doing here? So it's like you're wearing him as a digital skin suit to promote these messages that the donors want, or that Erica wants, or sell a book or a hat or something. And it's like, do we just do this forever now? Or to me, it's very dehumanizing to do that. It's treating Charlie like a tool instead of a human. But let me put that aside. So you have this clip from the Charlie Kirk show. They've got a couple of their college reps up here on the set. And I want to play this for you because this is consistent across the board. And I'll do a little more analysis on these two college girls that they have on the show here. As far as, I do think there's some body language messaging here. But beyond the body language messaging, you can hear what they say. So these are college students. I believe that's Andrew Colvett, Blake Neff. I think they host the show every day. I'm not following it that closely. I see the clips. I think they're hosting the show every day. I don't know. That whole thing is weird to me. But listen to what they say. So they bring up the war. Listen to what the young college students say here.
What are even Trump supporting students voted for Trump? What are they feeling about the Iran war?
I think that mostly they're saying, Trump said no new wars. Now we're in a war. Talking about prices going up, especially gas. I don't know if you want to add on that, Addie.
Wait a minute. Do students at ASU still drive? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right. Okay. They all. Man, you guys are living large. I didn't have a car in college.
I don't either.
They're mixed. People who voted for Trump are either in support of him or they're totally against it because, like Danny said, no new wars. That's one of the primary reasons, at least I voted for him, and a lot of the people in the chapter voted for him. And we don't want to lose American lives.
So does this change your opinion of the president?
My opinion of the president hasn't really changed all that much.
So this is where I want to get to the body language. So they both talk about young Trump voters and they don't support the foreign policy. They don't like the war in Iran. Now, this is where I think there's a bit of a body language messaging here. I don't know much about these girls other than they're obviously TPUSA ambassadors or college reps or whatever it is. But what it seems to me watching this is there's some sort of a pressure system here. And I'm not even claiming that this is coming from TPUSA or from Colvett or Neff or anybody there, but I think there's this sense of you still have to support Trump. You still have to support Trump no matter what. Because when she gets asked directly about, well, has this changed your opinion on Trump? She starts to waver a little bit. She kind of starts to waver. She kind of starts to go into a shell a little bit. I think they're wondering. I think that they're wondering whether or not they still support Trump. Now, I just know from my social interactions that a lot of the young Turning Point ambassadors, leaders, etc., well, I know they follow my show. I know they follow my content, so that tells you one thing. But I know that it's like, yeah, when you're with this organization, it's harder to kind of turn against Trump when you're with an organization that's trying to be a part of something that's bigger, that's connected, that's tethered to this political movement. And if we start turning against it, then it's just like, oh. But to me, that's kind of what happens when she gets asked. She kind of goes into her shell here. It's like, yeah, okay, we don't have any problem talking about how young people don't support the war in Iran. That's kind of a common talking point here. I don't think anybody's too nervous to express that, and it can't be denied. But it's like, oh, you start to talk about Trump. It's like, well, I don't want to say anything negative about Trump, though.
If the president hasn't really changed all that much, I obviously am not in full support for everything that he does. And I didn't want any new wars. I don't think interference in the Middle East is in America's best interests. So they're the same.
So you still support the president, but you don't support this particular war.
That's correct.
Okay. So when you hear people talking about, oh, they've been a threat to the United States for 47 years, the nuclear threat, they what was that island? The Diego Garcia Island. When you see that they actually have the ability to shoot missiles extraordinarily far, I think that was like 2,000 miles away. Does any of that change the way you think about it? Or is it still just like, hey, it's thousands of miles away. We want a nation build here at home?
Well, like you said, we've been saying Iran has been building a nuke for 47 years, and they just don't have one. So
sure.
I don't really see them as a threat. When you see
Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff say, we sat with them and they said they have enough nuclear material to build 11 nukes, that those kind of things don't change your calculus. I'm not trying to tell you right or wrong. I'm just wondering, I'm trying to get inside your psyche. Like what works, what is persuasive, what's not.
Well, I think the military in the operation.
That's a weird way to put it. How can we lie to you or massage the truth or propagandize you into supporting this war? That's an odd way to state that. Do you trust Witkoff and Kushner? Huh.
Epic Fury, they've been targeting those facilities and they have hit them. We've decimated their nuclear capacity from what I have seen.
Can I just add something? I actually disagree. I think that they're a threat to our national security. And I think that what Trump is doing is a broader part of trying to limit long-term threats.
So the young people don't like the intervention in the Middle East. And, well, we all know how Charlie felt about this. And that's why I think it's so, I don't want to be too aggressive here. But it's so distasteful, I think. I think that's a fair way of putting it. It's distasteful to sit here on the Charlie Kirk show. It's been, 6-7 months now? And we're going to sit here on the Charlie Kirk show and we're going to pretend like Charlie wasn't against this war in his final months, like right up to his dying day, literally. We're going to pretend that's not the case. And we're going to sit here and do this weird submission attempt on young Americans, like, yeah, but they have these missiles. Yeah, but they can launch far. Yeah, but they could hit us. Like, but Witkoff and Kushner, like, oh, yeah. Are Witkoff and Kushner even Americans? And I was very supportive of Witkoff in the early stages of this administration. I don't trust him at all anymore. I don't trust Witkoff or Kushner at all anymore. We were told Kushner wasn't even going to be a part of this administration. That was a big lie. Are Witkoff and Kushner even Americans, or are they Israelis? Say, well, they're both. Well, then are you really an American? So I don't see it. I don't see the popularity for this war. I don't see the popularity for Trump. I think it's all propaganda. But because there's been so much fake anti-Trump stuff and pure propaganda against Trump for 8 years, you have people on the right that cannot comprehend it. It's the boy that cried wolf, but the wolf is finally here. This isn't left-wing propaganda. This isn't liberal anti-Trump garbage. Trump lied to you. Trump got us back into the Middle East. Trump is not a conservative. Trump is a globalist. Trump is working for foreign and special interests. That's not anti-Trump propaganda. That's the reality of your situation. And I understand why you don't believe it. I do. I understand. You've been hit with all the fake anti-Trump garbage for 8 years, but now it's real. This is the real deal. The wolf is at the door. Saliva dripping from the fangs, dripping from the tongue, ready to sink it into this country. It really already has. And you guys are sitting here in denial of the whole thing. And there's nothing really that you can say or do that's going to change it. The only thing that can change this is Trump. That's it. The only thing that can change this is Trump. If Trump wants to do a complete 180 and get back on track with what he promised the American people and make America great again and make America healthy again, if he wants to actually get back on track and do that, then you can maybe salvage the midterms. Maybe you can salvage this whole Trump coalition. But at this point, that looks like a 0% chance. And there's no amount of finger wagging and finger pointing and pretending like it's some anti-Trump liberal propaganda that's going to change these facts. And the longer you sit in denial of these facts, the worse it's going to get.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
But let's hope it doesn't get that bad. Let's hope it doesn't get bad that you need to dig into those emergency food supplies. Hopefully you have emergency food supplies, but if you don't, you can get them right now at preparewithowen.com. We have partnered with My Patriot Supply, and we have this offer right now for my listening audience. When you go to preparewithowen.com, or you can scan that barcode right there on the screen if you're watching the show today, and with that, a 4-week emergency food supply kit plus a 1-week ammo can. So that's 5 weeks of emergency food supplies for the price of 4 from the #1 emergency food supply in the country. That's My Patriot Food Supply. And all you got to do is go to preparewithowen.com to take advantage of this offer. It's the best high-quality emergency food out there, at least 2,000 calories a day, real meals made with real ingredients, no artificial flavors, no artificial colors, and shelf life measured in decades. By the way, it shows up ready to be stored. It's already in the most high-quality storage that you can have. So it's ready to be stored. You can put it right into storage, or you can bust right into it if you want, if you should be so inclined. But you got to have insurance you can eat. You would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So preparewithowen.com or scan that barcode right on the screen. This is a great way to just get started, folks. If you have nothing as far as emergency food is concerned, this is a great way to get started. And after this month, this deal will expire. So think about that. Preparewithowen.com, 4-week emergency food supply kit, plus a free 1-week ammo can right now at preparewithowen.com, or scan that barcode on the screen. Take advantage of this deal before it's up at the end of this month.
Extra dimensional and multi-universal. Here's your host, Owen Schroyer.
So some clips are starting to make their way out of CPAC. I am not going to go there today. I've got too much content as it is, so I won't be going there today. But let's just say the The statements coming out of CPAC don't look good, folks. They don't look good for the midterms, if we can put it to a point. But we'll deal with that probably tomorrow as more of these clips start to surface. President Trump did just make a statement on Iran, so I do want to read this. As per Iranian government request, please let this statement serve to represent that I am pausing the period of energy plant destruction by 10 days to Monday, April 6th. Talks are ongoing despite erroneous statements to the contrary by the fake news media and others. They are going very well. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Well, nobody knows what any of that means. Trump's statements carry less and less value with every one he makes. So my interpretation of this, based off of what we have seen, and it's really not even interpretation. I think it would be better to say my expectation of this, based off of everything we've seen, is Iran is getting bombed or invaded before April 6th. I'd say that's a pretty fair. I'd say that's a pretty good bet right there. And so Israel is either going to preempt this, because obviously Israel doesn't like it when America is having talks without Israel. Israel always tries to disrupt President Trump's peace talks by more bombing and more killing. So it's either going to be Israel doing something to intervene and destroy any chance at a negotiation, or this is Trump basically doing a play action rollout pass, and they're going to do something big as soon as tomorrow night. That's just the history here. Again, Trump statements to me carry almost no value anymore. All you can do is use it as a data point to say, okay, here's what he's saying. Here's what's happened in the past when he said similar things. So that's all you can really do. Face value, a Trump statement, it ain't worth a buck. Other than to say, okay, what happens when he says stuff like this? So that means Israel is either going to get ready to bomb in order to deter negotiations, if they're even happening, or Trump is running a play action and he is basically just doing a head fake, and they're going to do some sort of a military event either this weekend or the next. That's how I interpret that. And that's just based off of previous experience. Let's get to the rest of this news. So, as I said, I'm not going to do it today, but the clips are starting to surface. People at CPAC expressing concern for the midterms. That would be putting it lightly. People expressing nihilism about the midterms. People not too thrilled about President Trump right now. This is all coming out of CPAC. And by the way, I'll get ahead of myself here. Trump announced that he will not be attending CPAC this year. Trump to skip CPAC for the first time in a decade amid war with Iran. Well, he seems to have plenty of time to go everywhere else. So I'm not so sure if the CPAC trip is really about he doesn't have time because of the war with Iran. It might be a factor. I think it's a multitude of factors. I think that they probably didn't want to deal with the pain of it. I'm sure it's not a fun thing to try to get Trump into CPAC, security-wise, traffic-wise. And then, they're not totally ignorant to the fact that there is a massive right-wing shift against Trump. So they might just want to avoid that at all costs. And there is an ongoing war, but that hasn't stopped him from flying around and going back and forth from Mar-a-Lago and everything else. So I'm not really sure if I buy that. But Trump won't be at CPAC this year. But the clips are starting to surface of some anti-Trump sentiment from those that are in attendance. Now, this is the political results. Democrat flips Republican-held Florida State House district that includes Trump's Mar-a-Lago. Trump lost his own district, folks. A district that was plus 11 Trump in 2024. Plus 11 Trump in 2024. And the Democrats just flipped it almost 20 points. Almost 20 points. Pro-Trump to anti-Trump in his own district in Florida. So that's what I'm trying to say. How many of those voters in that district do you think listen to Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes or Owen Schroyer or any of the people they love to attack and blame this on? There's probably some, but it's not enough to shift an election 20 points. That's on Trump. That's on the GOP. 20 points in his own district. I'm not going to live in delusion land. I'm not going to put my audience into delusion land. Trump is massively unpopular. He has no one to blame but himself. And every single fair metric that you can look at shows that Trump is losing popularity and that MAGA essentially is dead. I mean, you could argue that there's still a zombie walking around, as I put it. There's no MAGA. There's just the brain-dead cult zombies. 20-point flip in his own district. And it's not even the midterms. It's a special election. We haven't even gotten to the midterms. So you're not even talking about a full election cycle. You're talking about in 1 year, Trump's own district flips 20 points to anti-Trump. In Florida. I'd say that's a pretty telling sign right there. Not to mention the Democrats are winning all the special elections. Not just at the national level, at the state level. Democrats are 30-0. 30-0 in state elections since the 2024 presidential election. 30-0. Republicans haven't won a single one. So, dare I say the Panicans were right? Now, here's AOC. This is so crazy. AOC is going to become tolerable here. And she's always gotten away with the looks factor. She's been able to kind of carry her way through her idiocy through the looks factor. And I'm just going to say this as we listen to this speech here. It was Bernie Sanders last week, and maybe they're kind of working this deal together. You know what? I would say, excuse me. Who do you think's getting more action with AOC? Bernie Sanders or her husband? Is she even wearing the ring anymore? Oh, my goodness. We all saw that coming. So Bernie Sanders last week was addressing the AI situation head on. Now you have AOC addressing it head on. I'm going to play this clip, but I'm going to tell you why this is so significant and where this goes. This is not a minor thing. So you can talk about AOC and all the different things she said over the years, you know, the leftist, liberal, brain dead stuff. What she says here is going to be very significant in the next 10 months. I promise you that.
And that is what we're here to do today. Unfortunately, the leaders of this industry have repeated time and time again that they view working people as an endless, untapped market to be manipulated and exploited, that they would sell our country out if it meant that they could turn a profit. And it is no surprise that in the 4 years since ChatGPT was released, we have seen AI deployed at a massive scale to create Big Brother-like surveillance. Every day, Americans are seeing videos of ICE agents waving phones into crowds, threatening that if they use their First Amendment rights, U.S. citizens using their First Amendment rights, that they will be added to some vague database that the American people have not consented to nor are knowledgeable about.
Now, let's just pause right there for a second. There are two very important messages that she is hitting here that we've heard Bernie hit before and now her. And if the Democrats run with this, it's going to be big for them. They're already going to win on the Israel issue. I've got other evidence points of that if we end up getting there. This whole AI privacy issue, this whole AI surveillance government issue, this is a serious issue. This is a swing issue. This is an issue that will get a lot of independents. This is an issue that will get a lot of centrists. This is an issue that will get a lot of Trump voters. This is a winning issue. And the Republicans they're kind of screwed. The Republicans are screwed on the AI issue because Trump is the AI president. Trump's cut the deals with all the AI companies, and the Republicans right now wouldn't dare cross Trump. So they have to run on AI. They have to run on being pro-AI. Trump has already done that. Now, the one strategic mistake that they could make here that I hear AOC doing is if they try to tie it into the whole deportation operation. That works with the left, but you're not really moving anything there. If they kind of remove that from the discussion and they just talk about AI surveillance, AI government, AI energy consumption, all the real issues that we have, the concerns that we have with AI, that is a winning issue. And so now you've heard Bernie Sanders address it head on. Now you're hearing AOC address it head on. And it doesn't matter what you think. These are popular people on the left. These are popular Democrats that can win an election. Now, I don't know if Sanders has another run in him. Certainly, AOC looks like she wants to be around for a while. And maybe she's getting some guidance, some coaching from Bernie. I don't think that would surprise anybody. And they can tie it in to the free speech issue, where Republicans are absent now, where Republicans have abandoned us now. And now the Republican Party is anti-free speech because the Israel lobby wants them to make anti-Semitism illegal, which, of course, we all know is translated to it needs to be illegal for you to criticize Israel. That's a losing message. That is a big loser of an issue. And the Democrats are now the Republicans are basically giving the Democrats these wins. The Republicans are offering the Democrats, hey, do you want to win on the AI issue? Here you go. Do you want to win on the foreign policy issue? Here you go. They're just giving it to them. And it doesn't matter how dumb you think AOC is. It doesn't matter how big of a socialist you think Bernie Sanders is. These messages resonate, and people will go out and vote for these issues. It can swing an entire election. And the Republicans have abandoned these issues, and people will go vote for Democrats on these issues alone.
Companies like Palantir.
And let's not kid ourselves either, by the way. Let's not kid ourselves. AOC has influence. Don't kid yourself. AOC as a delivery system of a political message is effective. That is a fact that you have to reckon with.
Are mining endlessly the data and privacy of the American people, keeping track of everything that they say and do, and sending it all to a militarized and centralized government. When you take the subway, when you share a TikTok, when you talk to your Alexa at home, they are collecting your data and figuring out new ways to weaponize it. And now they are using AI tools to automate this so that it is not only pervasive, but that it is effortless. We must sound the alarm now. And because of this surveillance of the American people is not going to stop, we must stop it. All of this harm has occurred not in spite of, but because of the absence of federal legislation to regulate AI. This is not.
We have to recognize something here, guys. Aside from the points I just made about the issues that the Republicans are giving Democrats to win on, let's go a step further here. The Democrats have adapted, folks. The Democrats have adapted and are ready for the midterm elections. The Republicans have not. The Republicans have put all their eggs in the Trump basket, and it's about to be run over. And all the eggs are going to get smashed, and they're going to have nothing else. The Democrats have adapted. Notice they're not doing the anti-Trump stuff like they used to. They're not using the political message of, hey, Trump is bad, I'm not Trump, vote for us. That ain't it. The Democrats aren't campaigning on LGBTQ or, Black Lives Matter. They've adapted. Let's be fair, neutral observers about this. The Democrats have adapted and are ready for the midterms. They're ready to win on foreign policy. They're ready to win on the AI issues, and they're going to go all in. They have adapted, folks, and it's going to win over Trump voters. I think you're going to have your people that are always going to vote Republicans, even if they're, grunting and moaning and bitching and complaining when they go do it. Okay, yeah, you're going to have that. You're going to have people that say, I can never vote for a Democrat, but I'm also not really inclined to go vote for a Republican right now either, so maybe I'll sit this one out. And then you're going to have people that really don't think about party. They think about policy. They think about issue. And they're going to say, hey, I'm really concerned about this AI. I'm going to go vote for the Democrats that are addressing this head on. Hey, I'm really concerned about this foreign policy and the foreign influence and this war in Iran. And the Republicans are all for it. The Democrats, I'm not so sure. We'll see where their messaging goes. But my guess is they're going to posture themselves as against this. That'll be a winning message. People will go vote against this war. People will go vote against AI. They will. And people will go out and vote against Trump, and the Democrats won't even have to run on that. That's just going to happen already anyway. I mean, what a joke. What a joke. Here's the Republican Party. Here's Donald Trump with the greatest mandate in modern political history. There has never been an opportunity like that was presented to Donald Trump to actually go in there and save the country, fix the country, turn it around, however you want to say it. That was Trump's mandate, and he blew it. And he spent all of his political capital on Israel, all of it, which is not popular. You could get away with the special interest stuff. You could get away with it. You can get away with pardoning all the fraudsters. You can get away with cutting all the deals with the AI companies. You can get away with the insider trading. You can get away with your sons making tens of millions of dollars on these deals. You could actually probably get away with all of that stuff if you actually made the country better, if you actually followed through on your campaign promises. But instead, you went with a special interest, and then you went with the foreign interests, and it's over. It's done. I just talk about blowing it. It's like being down by one in a March Madness game. It's like you're down by 1 point, and you got a wide open shot under the basket. All you got to do is dunk the ball. That's it. You have the ball. You're under the basket. There's 2 seconds left. You're down by 1 point. All you got to do is dunk the ball. And instead, Trump just punted it into the upper deck. You're like, what the hell? You had a mandate for mass deportation so desperately needed. You're not doing it. You had a mandate to fix the economy, cut taxes, do anything to make it easier for the American to get by financially. You didn't do it. You had a mandate not to get us involved in any more foreign wars. If anything, the mandate was to bring the troops home. You've done the opposite. You actually had a mandate unlike anything we've seen in modern American politics. And he just said, no, thanks. Here, Donald Trump, be the American hero. Here, Donald Trump, be the American legend. Be the guy. Be the guy that saves the country. Be the guy that secures that legacy. We have given it to you. And he said, no, thank you. No, thank you. And now you're going to let the Democrats run on all the winning issues? And you're going to sit here and do 10 press conferences a week about war? Unbelievable. Look, again, you have to understand in politics, not everybody thinks like you. Most people, you're like in the top 1% of informed people anyway. So you also have to consider that. AOC will be more appealing at this rate. At this rate where we stand right now, AOC will be more appealing than Donald Trump to neutral Americans. And if she leans into this AI issue, she'll be more popular. And I don't know if she wants to run for president. I don't know if she has that in her. But she can move the needle. She gets the coverage. Let's not kid ourselves. Some wrinkly old Democrat talking about this stuff probably doesn't get the coverage. AOC will get the coverage. And then they'll associate that with the Democrat Party. They can do it. The Democrats can win this election on standing up against AI and standing up against Trump's foreign policy. And the Republicans are just handing it to them. They're just the Republicans are just saying, "Go ahead, Democrats, take it and run. We're not interested. We're gonna go down with the Trump ship." And I guess for them, it's not so big of a deal, since they can just fundraise when they're in the losing position. But there goes the saving the country. There goes the MAGA agenda. There goes the MAGA Maha coalition. It's all gone. And this doesn't really help. This is always a good thing, right? Army extends maximum recruitment age to 42, allowing older recruits to join. Well, I think Ben Shapiro is in there. Ben, did Ben sign up? Big warmonger Ben? Big Israel firster Ben? He loves these wars. He loves sending other Americans to die for Israel's wars. Is Ben signing up? Ben can go now. Ben, did you hear? Ben Shapiro, did you hear? The Army has extended the recruitment age to 42. Ben, you're in the window. Come on, Ben. Go fight for Israel. Go join the military. Come on, Ben. I bet you could get him to serve you some kosher food. If you're into that type of thing, I think you can wear a hat under your helmet. What are you waiting for, Ben? Put your money where your mouth is. Come on, Ben. Put your blood and treasure on the line, Ben. You love this war, right? Prove it. Step on up. Step on up, tough guy. Yeah, that's good news. Oh, we're raising the recruitment age. That's not a bad sign at all. Well, maybe the farmers are feeling good. No. American farmers struggle with higher prices from Iran war. It's a double whammy. First, they got hit with the tariffs. Now they're getting hit with the energy costs. And now the fertilizer issues. American farmers, already dealt stiff blows from tariff costs, are struggling to survive as the war in Iran sends fertilizer, feed, and energy prices sky high, threatening to push grocery prices even higher. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Trump. Hey, but at least Netanyahu is getting his war. At least Netanyahu is getting death and destruction, and Israel is expanding its borders, right? I mean, at least we got that going on. Sure, our country is declining still. Sure, the farmers are having a tough go of it. Sure, the American people can barely afford to live anymore. Sure, the Army is raising the recruitment age to 42, but it's all worth it to make sure Israel is taken care of, guys. It's all worth it. So now the farmers are suffering too. That's nice. Thank you, Trump. Thank you very much. And so this is from Nancy Mace, and others in Congress have expressed similar issues Representative Mace says the justifications presented to the American public for the war in Iran were not the same military objectives we were briefed on today in the House Armed Services Committee. This gap is deeply troubling. The longer this war continues, the faster it will lose the support of Congress and the American people. Well, it's already lost the support of the American people as far as the majority is concerned. But if it loses a couple of Republicans, then yeah, it's toast. But they don't care. They'll send the $200 billion anyway. They will just not even bother voting on it. So it's not just that we're all getting the mixed messages from Trump, but Congress is in that mix too. They can't even figure out what's going on. So let's go to Trump. So this is now the Trump TV show. That's what we're dealing with. It's not a serious administration. It's not an America First administration. I'm not even sure if it's an American administration at all. But for Trump, it's just a TV show. It seems like that's all this is now. It's just a TV show, lights, camera, action. Trump in front of the cameras, behind the microphone at least 2 times a day, talking about war, nonstop. It's just Trump TV now. That's all it is. Lights, camera, action, makeup, hair, hair. So it's all just an unfunny TV show. It's all just some weird political drama, tragedy TV show now. And that seems to be what Trump cares about. It's just, this is all a Trump TV show. His ego is driving it. He loves it. He loves all the cameras, all the microphones being talked about all the time. So he's just embraced that this is all just a TV show to him. So it's not even about policy. It's not even about honesty. It's not about transparency. It's all about filling airtime. It's all about content now. So it's, oh, well, what am I going to say today? I don't know. Who cares? I'll just make something up. It'll be great content. So here's some of that mixed messaging. And I guess, what is Trump saying here? That he doesn't even get good intelligence?
And I think we've been proven right. You know, they took one missile, went 2,500 miles. They supposedly didn't have a missile like that. They had no missile with that capability. But they shot.
I thought they had no missiles. No, I thought you said they had no missiles. So not only did you say they had no missiles, now you're saying, oh, they had a missile that went 2,000 miles and we didn't even know about it. Whoa. So we went from we won the war, we destroyed their military, they have no missiles, they have no launchers, to, oh, hey, whoa, they got missiles that we didn't even know about.
The now famous Ireland.
And then what is this, by the way? What is it like? Honestly, what is Trump even talking about?
But they shot the now famous Ireland, the island that the UK was very afraid to give us because they didn't want to get dragged in. But we don't want to get dragged into their wars either. You know, it's one thing we're very disappointed. I'll say it publicly. We're very disappointed with NATO.
This guy is such a joke, man. We didn't want to get dragged in. What are you talking about? You dragged us in. You're disappointed in NATO? What are you talking about? You keep funding NATO. You keep funding Ukraine. I just look at this. Like, this guy is a clown. This guy is a bad TV character. And I'm curious what's going on behind the scenes. I understand. You can see here, you just look at this picture. You can see Pete Hegseth. He probably feels like, all right, well, I'm in this position. I might as well make the most of it. And I think there's times, like you saw, like even Pete has realized that Trump is just off his rocker. He's just lost his mind. But then there's, Marco Rubio types, and they're just sitting around and then hoping that they can run for president after this. So they're going to wait it out. Trump's lost his mind. What is he even talking about? They have no missiles. They have missiles we didn't know they had. They bombed Ireland or an island, or we got dragged into this by NATO. It's just nonsense. It's just complete nonsense from Trump. So I'm like, who? It's like, is anybody behind the scenes watching this and saying, hey, guys, we need to do something here? And it's like, well, nobody can control Trump. Nobody's going to tell Trump what to say. He's running things. He's just crazy. Okay. Somebody behind the scenes is enjoying this. And I don't know if it's Susie Wiles. I don't know if it's Marco Rubio. Somebody is enjoying watching Trump fall off of his rocker. Somebody is enjoying Trump going completely insane on us. The fact that nobody is willing to just sit down and say, Mr. President, can we just go over some bullet points of some things you've said recently that either don't add up or don't make any sense at all? Let's just sit down and try to get on message here. Nobody is willing to do that. I think people are sitting behind the scenes laughing at Trump. I think there are people that are working in this administration, and they're working for foreign interests, and they're working for special interests, and they're watching Trump fall off like this, go completely off the rocker. I think they're pushing him off the rocker. I think they're telling him that everybody loves this. I think they're telling him to keep it up, keep going in front of the cameras, keep just making stuff up. It's great. And he believes them. And then they're laughing behind the scenes like, oh my God, we're destroying this guy. So it's one thing, I suppose, to have a contradicting statement in different press conferences, or maybe from one day to the next. That's one thing. Trump is doing it in the same statement. Trump is contradicting himself in the same press conferences.
Pete, do you want to give about a 3-minute statement on how we're doing in this, as I call it, military operation? People don't like me using the word war, but so I won't. But the Democrats go to war. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news.
What does any of that mean? It's nonsense, folks. This is a bad comedy act. This is a bad TV show. Trump is embarrassing himself. He's embarrassing us. I don't even think he knows. I don't even think he thinks anymore. He just talks out of his mouth, which is resembling an ass. It's not a war. It's a war. The Democrats call it a war. It's a war. It's not a war. We're winning the war. We need more money for war. The war is won. We need more boots on the ground. They have no missiles. They have a missile we didn't know they had. This guy's a joke. This guy is a complete joke. Honestly, Obama was never this bad. This is worse than Obama. Oh, there's more.
But they're doing it for two reasons. No, number one is they want to deflect from all of the.
I mean, folks, even as I'm speaking, Trump has been on Fox News for the last 30 minutes. It's just Trump TV 24/7. He's just looking at this whole thing like it's a TV show now. His ego has been so inflated. I think he does. I don't even think he's like living in a bubble of his own ego. There is nothing else besides Trump's ego in his world now. There is nothing else. It's 24/7 Trump TV.
The tremendous success that we're having in this military operation. I won't use the word war because they say if you use the word war, that's maybe not a good thing to do.
Yeah, because it's illegal. So you're admitting you're having an illegal war. You admit that you've done an impeachable offense. Okay.
They don't like the word war because you're supposed to get approval. So I'll use the word military operation, which is really what it is. It's called a military decimation. But they don't like the good publicity. They don't like to see us succeed. They want to see our country fail.
What is he talking about? What is Trump talking about? I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. Trump is gone. Donald Trump is gone. This is all Trump's ego. I'm trying to find a way to really express this. I'm trying to find a way to really communicate this to get it to sink in. It's like Trump is just, he's so self-absorbed right now. He's so self-obsessed right now that he just thinks he needs to talk 24/7. I mean, folks, he's been on Fox News for the last hour. He already did public statements this morning. Now he's on Fox News. He does multiple public statements. It's all lights, camera, action. Like, what is going on? He can't help himself. Trump just thinks he needs to talk to the public 24/7. And so And it's all ego driven. It's all this giant ego that he has now, where he really thinks he is the just like he can do no wrong. It doesn't matter what he says. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It doesn't matter if it makes sense or not. It's just everybody. He just has to talk 24/7. He just needs the lights and the camera and the microphones on him. This is the most ego driven thing I've ever seen in my life. It's beyond pathetic. It's beyond embarrassing. There is no Donald Trump anymore. There's just the ego of Donald Trump. The ego has completely taken over. The narcissism has completely destroyed the man. And so here's a perfect point. So what are we doing here? So in his 10th TV performance of the day, in Trump's 10th TV performance of the day, he's got to fill airtime. That's what it's all about. It's all about filling airtime and making sure the cameras are rolling, and it's all about him. So let's see what he has to say. He wants to talk to you about Sharpies.
For $25 million, and it would be better. It would be better. See this pen right here? This pen is an interesting example. It's the same thing. So this pen is very inexpensive, but it writes well. I like it. But I can't have the pen the way it was. You know what it is. I don't want to give too much publicity, but they do treat me well, Sharpie. So I came here. They have $1,000 pens. And you hand pens out, you're signing and you hand them out. You're handing them to all these people. Sometimes you have 30, 40 people. And they were $1,000 a piece. Beautiful pen, ballpoint. 1,000. It was gold, silver, gorgeous. But I'm handing out to kids that don't even know what they're doing. What is this, Mommy? It's kids. They're getting a pen for $1,000. They have no idea what it is. And I feel guilty because I'm like, I'm by nature, I don't, it's the government. I love the government like I love myself economically. I want to save money. So I'm saying, this is crazy. And it had another problem. They didn't write well. So I take it out and I saw it and there's no ink. And I got all you people looking and you say, there must be something wrong with Trump. And I'm signing and there's no ink in the pen and it costs $1,000. This one, I called the guy. I said, I'd like to use your pen, but I can't have a gray thing with a big S on it saying Sharpie. As I'm signing a $1 trillion airplane contract to buy brand new fighter jets, brand new B-2 bombers, of which we just ordered plenty. I can't do that with the
And it can't stop. It always goes back to the war. It always goes back to war.
press. Use your pen, but I like the pen the best. But I'll sign it. I could do like Biden did, give it to somebody else to sign, or an auto pen, or maybe sign it separately in another room. But I can't use your pen. He said, well, I can make it nicer. I said, what can you do? He said, I'll paint it black. I said, that's nice. And I can even paint the White House on it, sir, if you like, in gold. Almost real gold, not bad. And I can even do your signature, sir. And by the way, this was not staged. I just saw the pen sit there and I thought of this as an example of how $25 million spent by me at the Federal Reserve Building would be a better job than $4 billion that they're spending. And one of the things that Kevin Warsh told me?
Folks, he's lost his mind. He's completely lost his mind. This is clown world. He's still on Fox News right now. What are we talking about? He's talking about pens? What are we doing? I always made this joke. I mean, it wasn't a total joke. I was serious about how we need to have a fake White House, a fake Capitol, a fake D.C., so that we can send the liberals and the Democrats over there to make them feel like they're running things, to make them feel like, they're doing stuff and active in politics and stuff, but they're not hurting anybody. It's like a little child with a Little Tikes kitchen set. You don't give your kids an actual oven and knife and boiling water. You give them a fake plastic one, and it's fun for them. They get to pretend like they're playing kitchen, and they got their little oven and their pots and pans and plastic knives, and nobody gets hurt. And I've always said we need that for Democrats. We need to send Trump there. Now we need it for Trump. We need to send Trump to a fake White House, a fake Capitol. Trump is completely lost his mind. Look at this pen. I don't know. What was I talking about a second ago? There's some war going on, but I got this pen here. It's a black pen. Can I say that? Can I say black pen? Well, it would be no good if it was a white pen, right, Pete? Yeah, Pete knows. Pete, we're signing more war bills, right, Pete? Something with airplanes? I don't know. Pete has no clue either. But I had this pen. I said, I need a better pen. You know, I'm signing autographs and bills and everything. Where can I get a better pen? And they said, Mr. President, you can literally get a pen at any store. I said, no, I can't. I need to spend $25 million on a pen is what I need. And I need it with my signature. Otherwise, it's no good. It's got to be my pen. So we're talking about pens. And anyway, and then some penguins too, maybe. You know, sometimes they say pens. It's short for penguin. And we like penguins. You know, they said the penguins were dying from global warming. No, the penguins are still around. But so are the pens. So I got this box of pens, and they're nice pens. And I'm thinking about pens while I'm starting wars. But did you hear it? I just said I love the government, don't I? I love the government. And I love spending money. So we're going to order pens is what we're going to do. We're going to order so many pens. We're almost out of missiles, but we got plenty of pens. Don't worry about that. There'll be no shortage of pens. In fact, I wish I could get missiles that looked this good. Are you kidding me? I wish I could get missiles that looked as good as this pen. It's got my name on it. I mean, it's all about me after all, right, Pete? Look at Pete. Pete, you're looking good. You're going to go lift some weights? Who cares? What's Rubio doing over here? Little Marco, he likes me now. I don't know. Marco, what do you think about a pen? You want a pen, Marco? Too bad. Maybe you could be president one day. Guess I stopped that from happening, huh, Marco? Yeah. It's my pen now, Marco. You're look at him slumped over there. He's thinking about a bathhouse. I'm thinking about pens. What do you think? Pete's thinking about what is it, Pete? You like whiskey? Pete's thinking about, we got Trump whiskey now. We got Trump vodka now. We got Trump guitars. I actually sent Mike Huckabee. I think he plays the guitar for the Israel band. We sent him a Trump guitar. So we're giving out gifts. We're giving out pens. We're giving out Trump vodka to Pete Hegseth. We're giving out Trump guitars to Mike Huckabee. I think I got a Trump watch, a Trump shoe as well. I don't know what I got. What are we doing here anyway? I think we were talking about war. Anyway, we're winning the war or we're losing the war or it's not really a war. I don't know. Is it time for a commercial break? I think I got to go on Fox News. Bye, guys. Have some pens. So this is how they... This is how they've realized, this is how you deceive Trump. You just worship him. You just praise him. You just tell him how great he is. So this is what they do now. So listen to what Doug Burgum said to Trump today. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Do you have anything to say?
Well, back on Venezuela, where Chris and I have both had a chance to be there, I literally think they're going to put a statue to President Trump. And I'm not it's not a political statement. It's an actual thing.
So. That would be a great honor.
No, because it's like they view President Trump like Simon Bolivar. He's the liberator of a country. And this is a country where they love American baseball. You look on the street, they're wearing NBA jerseys. And Delcy and her team working with us.
I mean, just listen to this, dude. This is ridiculous. Trump, I think they're going to build you a statue in Venezuela. Well, that's great. I love me some me. Do they need any funding? We got plenty of money. I think. I don't know. 40 trillion in debt. Who cares? We'll build in fact, we need to have a Trump statue in every country, in every room of the White House, in every house in the United States, and we'll send it with a pen. This guy's a joke, man. I cannot believe it. Somebody help him, please. That's why it's like, I'm like, dude, just go. Just go play golf for a month. Just go. Just go. Like, just please go away. Go take a vacation for a month. Just disappear for a month. Just leave us alone. Turn this Trump TV show off. It's like the best thing you could do even for the midterms. President Trump, if you don't want to get impeached, and because nobody's telling you this, Mr. President, all right? Now, I understand you got your own ego problems, but you got staff problems, okay? You got management problems here. Nobody is helping you out. Let me try to help you out again, okay? You need to go away. You need to just disappear. Every single day you go out and speak, whether it's at the White House, the Oval Office, on Fox News still. He's still on Fox News right now. Whatever it is, all this, you're on TV 4 hours a day now. Every single hour you spend on TV, the American people get more and more sick and tired of you. Your policies already suck. The result of this administration already sucks. And then it's just this brutal reminder, this brutal, torturous reminder that your ego is running everything, and your entire staff around you is just letting this thing fall apart at the seams, and nobody wants to steer you in the right direction here. So if you want to avoid impeachment, if you want to avoid prison, you need to go away. You need to disappear. You need to make the American people forget that you even exist. And I know that it's impossible for you to do that. You are so obsessed right now. You're doing 4 hours, 5 hours of TV a day. Everything is about you 24/7 all the time. We are sick of it. The American people are sick of it. They're sick of hearing you. They're sick of hearing your lies. They're sick of your policies. And it's this weird thing where it's like nobody's telling you this isn't working. This is a disaster. Go play golf for a week. The best thing President Trump could do right now, I'm going to tell you this. The best thing President Trump could do right now is say, we're bringing all the troops home. We're done. We're done. We did it. We killed all the Iranians for Israel. They can finish the job. We're out. We're done. We're bringing every single troop home as quickly as possible. And we're going to instead deport 10 million people. We have a great military. They love our country. They want to serve our country. And right now, the best way they can serve this country is by deporting 10 million illegal aliens in the next 3 years. So we're bringing our troops home. We're deporting 10 million illegal aliens. And then Trump just disappear for a week, 2 weeks. Go play golf. Go play golf in Scotland. I don't care. Just go. Just disappear. No cameras around you. No updates. No press conferences. Just say, I'm bringing the troops home, and we're going to do 10 million deportations, and then just disappear for a week. Just go play golf. Go hang out with your friends, your family, whatever. Just go. That is the best thing you can do right now. And I know nobody's going to tell you this because everybody's trying to use and abuse you for their own interest, because the special interests and the foreign interests are using and abusing you. They're taking advantage of your ego right now. But that's the best thing you could do. If you want to avoid impeachment, if you want to avoid prison, there you go. I know no one else is telling you this, so I figured I might as well. But he's expressing frustration here. It's funny. This frustration he's expressing with the Supreme Court justices that he nominated, by the way, this is exactly how we feel about him.
Bad courts in this country are costing us a tremendous amount of money. And the Supreme Court, that's right, of the United States, cost our country, all they needed was a sentence, our country, hundreds of billions of dollars, and they couldn't care less. They couldn't care less.
That's how we feel about you. This is how we feel about you, Mr. President. Speaker Johnson. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Maybe Speaker Johnson can get us back on the right track, right? Let's hear from Speaker Mike Johnson.
We had to fix everything. We got to work in January with the mandate that the American people gave us to do just that. It is all attributed to leadership. And President Donald J. Trump will go down as clearly one of the greatest, if not the greatest presidents of all time. That is no kidding.
Never doubt me, folks. What did I tell you? What did I tell you, folks? They found out how to manipulate Trump. That's what it is. They found out how to manipulate Trump. All you do is you just praise him and tell him how great he is and stroke his ego, and that's all you got to do. So they don't fight him anymore. They learned that fighting him doesn't work. They learned that attacking him and try to sabotaging him and smearing him, they realized none of that works. So now they found out what does work. Oh, just tell him how great he is all the time. Just grandstand for him all the time. Just stroke his ego, stroke his hair, whatever, stroke his shoes. And that's how they figured it out. That's how they're sabotaging Donald Trump. That's how they're sabotaging and destroying Trump's legacy. They figured it out. They figured it out. And it's so obvious. It's so obvious now. There's just your latest example. Now, you want to see how bad it really is? Trump is apparently now having talks with Bill O'Reilly. With Bill O'Reilly. You know, the completely irrelevant Bill O'Reilly without the Fox News platform. That Bill O'Reilly. The Bill O'Reilly that nobody listens to. The Bill O'Reilly that couldn't even sell seats to an event. Apparently, Trump is now confiding in Bill O'Reilly. That's how far Trump has fallen from grace. That is how desperate Trump is to find anybody that will give him positive feedback right now. He's going to Bill O'Reilly. I mean, folks. And I could get into what him and Bill O'Reilly are apparently talking about. It's, you know, it's the same stuff. Nobody knows anything. Trump doesn't know what's going on. And he's confiding in Bill O'Reilly, ladies and gentlemen. That's how far this thing has fallen off. Trump has to call Bill O'Reilly to feel good about himself. Bill O'Reilly. Yeah, I guess Tucker Carlson trying to tell the truth to you. I guess Tucker Carlson trying to be honest with you. I guess Tucker Carlson trying to actually help you. You don't want to hear that. Tucker Carlson with, like, what does he have? Like the number 2 podcast in America right now. Tucker Carlson, who is number 1 rated on Fox News, bigger ratings than O'Reilly ever got. Tucker Carlson, who's made a career after Fox News, unlike Bill O'Reilly, who can't have any career without a network. And Trump is calling the loser Bill O'Reilly because Bill O'Reilly will be nice. And Bill O'Reilly will let Trump confide in him and let Trump brag and say, oh, everything's great. And O'Reilly's desperate for any relevance himself. So he'll take the offer. That's where we're at. That's where we're at with this Trump administration. And I think, I just wonder what's going to happen in the next couple months leading up to the midterms. I think there's going to be more Joe Kents. I do think there's going to be more Joe Kents. And instead of that being a wake-up call, they're just going to continue to treat it like they did Joe Kent, completely unaware, completely oblivious that with every Joe Kent and then the attacks against him, it only makes this administration look worse. And it's exponential every time it happens. So it was like, okay, it was Marjorie Taylor Greene. That was a story. Then it was Joe Kent. That was a bigger story. And whoever it is next, it'll be even bigger than both of them. Because not everybody that's there behind the scenes is looking to climb the political ladder. Not everybody that's there behind the scenes is looking to be a Trump loyalist. Eventually, people are going to stand up and say, I'm out. I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. And then guess what? The people that actually do have the biggest platforms, that's where they're going to go. And that's where they're going to be influential. You notice that? I'll finish the hour, and because we got a continued media segment here. I got more media stuff happening on the other side here. But that's kind of a factor in all of this, isn't it? And you know me, I don't really do the guests. I don't really do interviews very often here. It's not part of the show. But like, what happened? I got Marjorie Taylor Greene on, millions of views. Totally viral interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Joe Kent, Tucker Carlson. So what am I saying? There's this weird denial right now, and we're all seeing it. We all know who it is. This weird denial from this MAGA cult that they still think they have the influence, or they still think they have the launch pad for the American political discourse that will generate results. It's not there. It's not there. Trump's not running to your podcasts, by the way. Trump's not going on your shows to try to give you a boost. Trump's calling Bill O'Reilly. Trump's calling Mark Levin. He's not going on your podcast. He's not going on your shows. You guys are the most loyal people to Trump now. That your whole personality is Trump. Your whole platform is pro-Trump. He's not helping you out. Nobody's going on your shows for a boost. Nobody's going on your shows to break news and to change the American political discourse. They're going on Tucker Carlson. They're going on Owen Schroyer. You're living in denial. They're all living in denial. And it's all about to catch up to them, folks. And I said this last month, and we played some of the clips. But what did I say? I said, now the right wing is becoming like the left wing, where all they can do is repeat and parrot talking points and propaganda points. And so it's easy to go out there and do the got you interviews. That used to be the left. That's what I made hay doing for 10 years with the left. I mean, thousands of hours of content. Everybody knows. Some of the most banned content on the internet, but you can probably still find it out there. That was the whole thing, was you could go out there and show how brainwashed liberals were. You could go out there and own the libs and embarrass the libs because you knew exactly what they would say, how they would say it, and then how to destroy them with facts. I made a damn living off of it. But now that's the right. Now the only people you can do that with are right-wing Trump supporters, the Trump cultists. They're the ones that you can go out there and own. They're the ones that you can go out there and destroy with facts. And they're just in total denial of the world around them. And they're lashing out at all the people that have the biggest podcasts in America, that have the most influence. And they're sitting here in their little Trump cult, stroking each other off, thinking that they're somehow winning. And Trump won't even go on their shows. Trump just did an hour on Fox News. Trump just got off the phone with Bill O'Reilly. Trump's on the phone with Laura Loomer and Mark Levin. He doesn't give a damn about you. And then you're going to sit here watching everybody else get influence and go to the actual big shows that have influence. And you're going to sit here and try to create content out of attacking the real people that have real influence. Good luck with that. And if you think Trump is going to end up helping you in the long run, I got bad news for you. He's not. He's using you. But you'll figure that out the hard way. And I guess that's kind of the theme, isn't it? I guess that's kind of the theme. Fell for it again award. Learn things the hard way.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you probably have been thinking about precious metals. How could you not? It's in the news all the time. We've seen the markets go crazy recently. All kinds of things. We've seen bank runs. In fact, there was this story recently. Eris limits withdrawals from $10.7 billion private credit fund. What are we talking about here? We're talking about bank runs. We're talking about private funds where people try to go and pull out money and it's not there. Eris Private Credit Fund posts steepest monthly loss on record. Eris redemption limits puts focus on liquidity pressure and valuation. It's not good, folks. The financial system of money, cash, dollars. How confident do you feel about it right now? Apparently, a lot of people are wavering. So that's why they're thinking about gold. That's why they're thinking about precious metals. And that's why I've partnered with Allegiance Gold at protectwithowen.com. Now, it's very simple for me. Allegiance Gold has nearly 10,000 clients nationwide. They're relationship driven. What does that mean? That means all you got to do is give them a call. It's a free call, 844-790-9191, 844-790-9191, and ask them any questions you got. Any questions you got about the precious metals markets, gold, silver, any questions about where they think it's going. And while you got them on the phone, ask them about $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments, whether through your 401k, IRA, or savings. Ask them. That's all it takes with a simple phone call, 844-790-9191. And when you're ready to get into precious metals, diversify, and protect your wealth, do it with Allegiance Gold at protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com. So when you see these headlines, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, whether it's bank runs, whether it's the dollar devaluation, all of this stuff that makes you think about your wealth, makes you think about what you're doing with your money. When you see that stuff and you're asking, well, what should I do? Just give them a call, 844-790-9191 or protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth, ladies and gentlemen. Protect your wealth because no one else will.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
The ego on this man knows no bounds. The ego on President Trump knows no limits, ladies and gentlemen. This is hot off the press. Trump's signature to appear on U.S. currency, ending a 165-year tradition. U.S. paper currency will bear President Trump's signature to mark the 250th anniversary of U.S. independence, the Treasury Department said on Thursday, a first for a sitting president, while deleting the Treasurer of the United States signature from U.S. money for the first time in 165 years. The Treasury said in a statement that the first $100 bills with Trump's signature and that of U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will be printed in June, followed by other bills in subsequent months. The Treasury Bureaus of Engraving and Printing is currently still producing notes bearing the signatures of former President Joe Biden's Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Treasurer Lynn Malherbra. Trump just can't help himself. How do I get my name on there? How do I get my face on there? How do I make it about me? Got to make everything about me. You know, after all, everything is about me. Is that another, do we count that one, guys? I mean, I think I've already been proven right. I said it last year that eventually Trump is going to put his name on currency or a bill with his face on it or something. So now they're minting coins. Now they're putting his signature. Oh, my gosh, man. Oh, my gosh. What is going on? All right. All right. So Scott Jennings. This is a guy who has made a bit of a comeback for himself, let's say, as far as political relevancy is concerned, on CNN going up against the libs. And yeah, you know, for a right winger or just a neutral American observer, you see Scott Jennings on a panel of liberals, usually he's going to look pretty good. But Scott Jennings and the rest of MAGA, it's a tough thing to do defending this war. And I know they don't understand it yet, and they probably never will. They're just in an indefensible position right now. And that is just the reality. The war in Iran, it is an indefensible position to support that right now. And there's no ammo there, metaphorically speaking. There's no infrastructure there. There's nothing strong of substance to sit there and support this war with. It's all the same propaganda, the same talking points, and it's all against everything that we were said to have believed in with this Trump administration. So now Scott Jennings is being put in the position of he's getting owned, he's getting embarrassed because he's being forced to support this war on the same panels where usually he's the one doing the embarrassing. Now the roles have been reversed when he's trying to defend this war.
Yes or no? Do you agree with Trump that this war is won?
I agree that we have devastated
Wait, no, do you
their
agree
military.
that we've won? He said we've won. Yes or no? It's not a hard question.
No, if you consider a condition of winning destroying their military capabilities, their missile capabilities.
We haven't. Wait, if that's true, why can't the Strait of Hormuz be opened if their military is destroyed? Wait, I want to hear.
Hold on one second. If it is true that we have won, why are we sending the 82nd Airborne?
Thank you.
To be prepared for what happens next. If you exit this with an Iran that has a defanged as it relates to missiles, as it relates to an aggressive Navy, you take away their ability to make nuclear weapons, and you leave the remnant here unwilling to be a supporter of terrorism, That is an unequivocal win for the United States of America.
I want to show you the very careful wording Scott is using here. He's saying if that happens, which means that he disagrees with Trump's statement that it already has happened. The reality is what the president is saying is incongruent with what's happening on the ground. And that's the scary part here. One day we've won. The next day there's negotiations. The next day we've won again. But there's the actual on the ground reality that we are mobilizing thousands of troops to the Middle East. We are asking for $200 billion for this war. And I don't know, what are we getting for this? 86-year-old Khamenei was replaced with his 30-year younger son who's more radical, more extreme, is purging moderates. Can anyone tell me what we've gotten for this?
Well, Israel's gotten its stuff. You know, Israel's gotten its regime change. Israel's expanding its borders. Israel's getting everything it wants. So that's all that matters. And Scott Jennings would agree that that's all that matters. Isn't it amazing? And this is why the generational divide in the right wing is so, I mean, it's palpable, but very relevant. Because here we are, let's say, let's put us into some groups, let's put us into some boxes politically. Here we are, we're conservatives, we're right-wingers, Republican voters, and holy smokes, we just got this coalition. We just corralled a coalition, a populist coalition, a nationalist coalition. We just built this very grandiose coalition of Americans. And it's based off of right-wing policies directionally. It's looking like, hey, you can run with this stuff, this coalition you just built, this potential dynasty that you have here, this franchise. This is going to move stuff in the right direction. I mean, right wing. This is going to move stuff towards right-wing politics, and we can win on these issues. We just did. All we got to do is stay out of the Middle East. That's all we got to do. And they just can't do it. They just can't do it. And that's why it's so frustrating for younger conservatives. By the polls, you look at under 40 or under 50. This is why it's so frustrating for us. All you had to do was stay out of the Middle East. That's it. That's it. All you had to do was not go back into the Middle East. All you had to do was not start another war. All you had to do was not a regime change war. That is it. That is all you had to do. And we had a very broad nationalist populist coalition that could send America trending right for multiple election cycles, 2, 3, hell, maybe even 4 if you get success. But all you had to do was stay out of the Middle East, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And now you're going to lose the centrists, you're going to lose the libertarians, you're going to lose the independents, you're going to lose the anti-war right, you're going to use the younger generational conservatives, you're going to lose them all, and now you're going to lose multiple election cycles. And how do they not understand it? You know, maybe because they really believe that Iran is the biggest threat to them, or maybe because they really believe in the theological propaganda that they are meant to serve Israel. I guess that's it. I guess that's how they present it. But it makes no sense. And I asked this question in the panel yesterday. I asked it outright. I said, is it worth it? Because they all support the war in Iran. And I said, is it worth it to go to war in the Middle East if it means costing us the elections? Because that's what this is. I mean, let's just put it on the table. Let's just look at it for what it is. Is going to war with Iran worth losing the midterm elections? That's the question. Now, to me, the answer is obviously no. I mean, my red line was $0. $0, 0 lives, 0 missiles. My red line was 0 across the board as far as war was concerned. 0. So mine's already been crossed. But I know other people have different opinions. I know other people have different foreign policy opinions. So that's how it is. Okay. But I'm very grounded in what I believe and why I believe it. And I know where my lines are crossed. But see, you don't get that. You don't get that from the neocons. You don't get that from the war hawks. They can never answer these questions. And then as you see, they get put on the spot like Scott Jennings there. And now Scott Jennings is getting owned by liberals. That's what a disaster this war in Iran is. And maybe if it was like you could have a success story, or you had a clear-cut agenda and line items of success, then maybe you could hold your own. That doesn't exist. None of that exists. So you're sitting there empty-handed just supporting a war with nothing to show for it. You're just supporting a war. Just more money, more death, more destruction. That's all you have in your arms. Nothing else. Nothing else to speak of. So the question, so there it is. All right, you support the war. Okay, that's what you support. You're an American. You've got your opinion. Is it worth losing the midterms? That's the question. Is war in the Middle East, if you support it, is it worth losing the midterms? And is it worth losing in 2028, the president's election? Is it? Because that's what it's going to be. That's likely what it already is. So that's why young conservatives are so frustrated. That's why OG MAGA is so frustrated, because we built this coalition to run the table for 2, 3, 4, 5 election cycles and actually try to get this country back on some good common sense policies here. And here comes the Middle East again. And here comes more regime change war again. And here comes the Israeli lobby again. And it just destroyed everything we built. And it's going to cost us multiple election cycles. And we're just sitting here shrugging our shoulders. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this again? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? So when you get into these debates, you're never going to change their mind. It's never going to happen. So just ask them, okay, I don't support the war, you do. All right, different opinions here. So let's just ask. Is it worth it? Is war in the Middle East, is regime change war in Iran, is it worth the midterms, and is it worth the presidential in 2028? Would you make that trade? Would you trade war in Iran for the midterms and the presidential election in 2028? Would you make that trade? Because that's the trade. That is the transaction that is happening here. And for us that wanted to save the country, and for us that wanted to put America first, and for us that wanted to have a generational run of right-wing politics, the whole dream was destroyed. The whole franchise was blown up. They tried to Jerry Krause us. They Jerry Kraussed us before we could even get to the second championship. But we don't even know what's really going on. Israeli chief of staff warns army on verge of collapse amid troop shortage. So we don't even know what's really going on as far as who's got missiles, who doesn't, how much do we have left in our tank? How much does Israel have left in their tank? I mean, these countries have been at war for years. So you may have seen this happened a couple weeks ago when the first Iran strikes happened, and you saw all of these. I want to try to not get like. I mean, how can you say this? I mean, it's just the truth. It's just the truth. You saw all these bimbos. You saw these supposedly Iranian women. And you found out all of them in all the ones that they were showing you in Los Angeles, all of them were actually Jewish. So that was a big propaganda operation. All those people, all those Iranian women in the streets celebrating the war in Iran, waving the Iranian flags. All of those women were Jewish, so we found that out. But you may remember the one, and we did cover this on the show, Mooney Rahimi. And so you may remember her. She got, she took all of her clothes off and started gyrating for the war, because that's a total normal thing to do about war, right? I mean, that's a total normal thing. When you see a war happening in supposedly your home country, when you see your home country getting blown up with bombs and missiles and, the leadership and thousands dead, in this war, the normal thing you do, obviously, is to take your clothes off and gyrate on the internet, right? I mean, that's the natural thing to do, right? I mean, who doesn't feel that way? Who doesn't feel that way when they see their country getting bombed by a foreign country? The immediate thought is, let me get naked and hump. Let me get naked and dry hump and shake my butt for the internet, for an internet video. That's obviously the instinctual thing. So that's what she did, and so many others. And so her let me take my clothes off and gyrate for the internet video goes viral, obviously. She comes out, she says, oh, look, I'm the Iranian baddie, is what she calls herself. She's the Iranian baddie, which means, like, I guess, hot chick rebel, whatever. So she's the I just saw my country get bombed, I'm going to get naked and dance for the internet girl. Well, her cousin gets killed in the war. Her cousin gets killed in the war. And so she does this post about how her cousin got killed in the war. So, you were gyrating half naked on the internet for this war. Now your family is dead. So she expresses this in a post. And now she's obviously getting a hard time. It's like, well, what are you talking about? You celebrated this war. You took your clothes off and danced for this war. She says, where I said in the war, I always emphasize that it is not a war. Oh, it's not a war. She says, my cousin died in a war, but it's not a war. And then she blames it on the Islamic regime. Really? It was Khamenei that dropped the bombs that killed your cousin? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. You guys, I've explained this before, and I don't even know if it matters, but it's worth it for you to have the understanding. And the only reason I know this is because I met a bunch of Iranian girls in college. I was dating a foreign student, and all the foreign students, they all hang out together. And so there were a bunch of Iranian girls that were going to St. Louis University. I was dating this other girl, so I used to hang out with them all the time. And they were friendly enough. They didn't like my politics because I was right wing. Folks, these are leftists in Iran. These are leftists. I want you to understand this. In the Iranian political spectrum, these are leftists. Now, again, I don't, does it have relevance? Does it not? You can decide. But these women are leftist. All of these women celebrating this war are leftists. They're liberals. They're feminists. Why do you think they behave like feminists all over the rest of the world? Because they are. That's who is celebrating this. Feminists, leftist feminists. Liberal women are the ones that are taking their clothes off and gyrating for the camera in celebration of this war. That's who's doing it. Again, I don't know if that matters. I don't know if that is any relevance to this story, but nobody else is telling you that. And then you can see it in their rhetoric. You can see it in their behavior. What do the feminists do all over the world? They take their clothes off to get attention. That's not an uncommon thing. But, I mean, talk about, yikes. Her cousin gets blown up. Her cousin gets killed in the war that she supports, and then she continues to run propaganda for the war. I'm surprised she didn't take her top off to do a video about it. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. So, okay, so here we go with the Democrats. This was an event In Colorado, yes, Colorado, you have a representative at an event who gets into it with one of her constituents. Well, I'll let the video speak for itself.
You are fundamentally not going to agree with me on this because you think that Palestinians deserve to live. Thank you very much. No, ma'am, that's not it.
Yes, I did record it.
Okay.
So, here I am. Hi, Diana. I'm Nicole Shea.
Hi, Nicole.
I am a delegate in Denver. I'm in 5 points.
Okay.
Great. Like you, I really consider myself a women's rights activist. I appreciate the work you've done. I'm just wondering, why do you keep sending money for bombs that Israel is sending to Palestine?
So actually most people think that Israel should be able to defend itself with the Iron Dome. And that's what I'm talking about. But so
defending themselves is different than.
By the way, they show the legislation. What the thing that she voted on was not about the Iron Dome, so she's lying.
Continuing the genocide in Palestine.
Correct.
You're talking about different subjects, and I'm trying to ask you about the Block the Bombs Act.
Okay, I'll tell you about the Block the Bombs Act. I've read the Block the
Jews to Degate. That's the Colorado representative here. Here's a sign in Colorado. Jews to Degate, stop funding famine.
Bombs Act. The Block the Bombs Act is a very poorly written piece of legislation because it's both too narrow and it's too broad.
So why haven't you introduced amendments?
Can I finish? I can't introduce amendments because it hasn't been brought up.
Now you got people trying to block the camera. All right, so you get the point. This is an unavoidable conversation in the midterms, folks. I'm to the point where it's like, I thought we were maybe 2 or 3 election cycles away. It might be this cycle. This might be the one where Israel is the determining factor in all of this. It really might. And the longer this war goes on, and the more discussion, the more conversation we have about it, and the more we see the aggression from Israel, not just in the war, but in their propaganda aimed at America, the more people are going to go out there and say, anyone that supports Israel, I'm not voting for you. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, not doing it. And the Democrats are way, 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 way ahead of the Republicans as far as the foreign policy stuff is considered for this election cycle. But obviously, this is where it's going. And then it's going to kind of create this negative feedback loop where everybody that's against the war is going to be called an anti-Semite, which is then going to force more people to look into the actual facts, knowing that, well, obviously, we're not an anti-Semite. We just don't like war. And then that's just going to harden the issue. And people are going to feel even more inclined to cement themselves in the anti-Israel stance. And it looks like that's now on the table for the midterms. It looks like now that could be a determining factor in many midterm elections is the Israel issue. And if that's how it goes, you could say the same thing is going to happen in the presidential election. You could say the same thing. So they're desperate. All the Israeli loyalists are desperate. Like Mike Huckabee. Listen to this interview from Mike Huckabee. Listen to this.
And that they will look for themselves, but they're not. That's the problem. They're not looking. They're taking at face value what some podcaster says. And the result is absolutely dangerous.
So, of course, he's talking about why people don't support Israel. Well, put that aside as an issue and listen to what he says. Who was saying this 4 years ago? Who was saying this in 2024? Oh, they're listening to podcasts. They believe podcasters. They trust podcasters. Folks, that's a leftist talking point. That's a woke left liberal talking point. Now it's the right wing. I'm telling you, the right wing is now the anti-free speech wing. The right wing is now the anti-political discourse wing. I mean, we've watched this thing go like this We've watched this thing do a complete turnover in one election cycle. The Republican Party has abandoned the free speech cause. The Republican Party has abandoned the anti-war cause. The Republican Party now doesn't like you listening to podcasts and making up your own mind. And now the liberals are going to fill that void. Forget about principle. It doesn't even matter at this point. They're all phonies. It's about leverage. It's about winning elections. It's about filling a void. And the Democrats will fill that void and win on that issue. You can't listen to podcasts. It's dangerous to listen to podcasts. Now it's the Republicans telling you this because they're losing on the big issues. It's unbelievable. But there it is. There it is. And here's Trump's anti-Semitism czar, Rabbi Yehuda. Don't say that Israel, don't say that Jewish interests are treating foreign militaries or the American military or any government as their own little tool to get things accomplished for their people. No, just listen to Trump's anti-Semitism czar. Admit it.
You can see certain results, even one that happened today because of the president's efforts in combating anti-Semitism globally, is that in meetings with Ambassador Bill White and myself at the direction of the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, an incredible individual in his own right, and from the president, that we were in Belgium 2 weeks ago discussing an increase in security after the synagogue had been firebombed in a town in Belgium. And the Belgian government agreed to increase security by bringing the military to protect Jewish institutions. As a result of that action, today, when there was an attack on a Jewish institution and Jewish businesses, the military that had just stepped in literally 3 days ago was able to apprehend 2 of the 3 perpetrators and find out that they are linked to Iranian terror groups. So These are things that are a result of the president being actively involved and the Secretary of State being actively involved in holding governments accountable for how they are and what they're doing to combat anti-Semitism.
So, but don't talk about how Jewish interests are getting prioritized, or you're an anti-Semite, or you're obsessed with Jews, or you're a Jew hater. Stop talking about it. It doesn't matter that it's everywhere. It doesn't matter that it's in your face. It doesn't matter that it's the top priority. It doesn't matter that they get proportionally 1,000 times the funding of any other group. It doesn't matter. Just stop talking about it. And then when they brag about it and admit all this stuff in public, you're supposed to just celebrate it. This is where the right wing is so mismeasured on this issue. Let's even say that you do believe that anti-Semitism is a big problem, or let's say that you, as an individual issue, believe that Jews need to be protected at all costs. Let's say that's your priority, that's your prerogative. Okay. You do realize that is the equivalent of the left-wing LGBTQ movement. You do realize that is the equivalent of the left-wing Black Lives Matter movement. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as far as virtue signal. It's the same thing as far as social justice warrior. It's the same thing as far as the victim economy. It's the same thing as far as the trauma-based mind control. But it's the same thing as far as you're talking about an issue that maybe 1% of people care about, that maybe affects 1% of the people. And that's just the fact. So you can sit here and talk about Israel being your top issue. You can sit here and talk about protection of Jews or anti-Semitism being your top issue, and that's your thing, and that's fine. But the political equivalent is a liberal talking about LGBTQ rights. It just doesn't hit. It doesn't impact very many people. It's a very finite, small percentage of people that this stuff actually matters for or is directly impacted by this stuff. And look what happened to the left. Look what happened to the Democrats when they went heavy on the LGBTQ stuff, when they went heavy on the trans stuff, and then they lost a lot of voters, and then they lost a lot of support, and then they lost elections. This issue with anti-Semitism in Israel, that is the right-wing LGBTQ plus issue. That is the right-wing Black Lives Matter movement. They haven't figured it out yet. And I think well, it's a lot more deeply embedded. It's a lot more entrenched in right-wing politics than, trans and LGBTQ was in left-wing politics. So it's got a little more weight to it. It's got a little more generational, like it's been there for a while. But now in the modern day actual political conversation, it's basically Black Lives Matter. It's basically LGBTQ. And it affects such a small portion of people that right-wingers are now sitting here saying, I'm sick of it. Just like liberals said, I'm sick of the LGBTQ crap. I'm sick of the Black Lives Matter crap. That's why conservatives are sitting here saying, I'm sick of the Israel crap. I'm sick of the Jew crap. So politically, that's your equivalent on the other side of the aisle. And it'll wield virtually the same results in this upcoming election cycle. Oh, and this doctor gets arrested again. By the way, they're arresting people for speech in Australia. What is going on in Australia? They arrested this doctor. I believe this is the 5th time Dr. Rama Adwan has been arrested. She's very vocal against the Israeli actions in Palestine. So she's now been arrested 5 times in Britain. She's been arrested 5 times in Britain for being outspoken against Israel's actions in Palestine. 5th time she's been arrested for speech online. You had another journalist. This one was nowhere near, so I don't think you could say they were trying to hit her. Another journalist catches an Israeli bomb blowing up in Lebanon in real time.
I'm reporting to you from the town of Brigalia, which just a few minutes ago was threatened by the Israeli army with a forced displacement order. So it was threatened with a forced displacement order. This gas station is an Amana gas station. There's the explosion. So, okay, continue. So as you can see, the Israelis are causing wanton environmental destruction. This is a war crime. And actually, we should probably go. Should we go? No, keep filming, keep filming. Okay. The Israeli army said yesterday in a statement that the military campaign here in South Lebanon is about expansion. This is ethnic cleansing. It is a land grab. In an escalation of violence yesterday, the Israeli army launched attacks on 92 Lebanese towns and villages, and as you can see, they are still attacking us now. The Air Force is still flying overhead. I'll keep you updated as I can.
Be careful. They might try to blow you up. It's crazy, man. It's honestly crazy how they've been able to get away with this. And it's obvious how. It's not like it's some mystery. Like, how are they getting away with this? It's very obvious how they got away with it. They bought our politicians. They bought the media, all the Israeli interests. And then they've tricked Christians and they've tricked other ignorant Americans into thinking that this is all in self-defense. A big lie. It's like, oh my gosh, how can Israel get away with this? They've killed hundreds of thousands of people. They've killed tens of thousands of children. They're expanding their borders. They're doing ethnic cleansings. They're doing military demolitions. They're taking land, killing people. They're getting away with it. And then claiming to be the victim, claiming it's in self-defense. Yeah, and then they buy your media outlets. They buy your politicians, and then they say they're the victim, and that's how they get away with it. It's really unbelievable to witness. Because there's this thing that happens, and we're all kind of guilty of it. And actually, this is why they really hate the rise of the alternative media. This is why they're panicked at the rise of the alternative media right now. And who knows what they're going to do in response. We already saw the first wave of censorship. We saw the second wave of censorship. I wonder if we'll see the third wave of censorship in Israel's interests. This is why they don't like the rise of the alternative media. And in the first wave of censorship, what you saw was they really went after the people that went live when there was breaking news. That was in the first wave. They wanted to wipe out all of the people that went live that had big followings when there was breaking news. So this is why they're so panicked over the rise of the alternative media. This is why they attacked Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, you name it, Nick Fuentes, because there's a brainwashing propaganda mechanism here, and it's really just basic human psychology, kind of like first impressions, right? Where they need to have full control of the narrative, but they also need to have full control of your emotions. So it's like this. When you tune into the news, let's say you're watching the network news, the cable news, you tune into the news, it's 2020, and what do you see? You see all the death. You see the red alerts. You see all the COVID stuff, right? That's all to put you in a state of fear. That's all to put you in an emotional state of fear and panic so that in that state, they can trick you, they can deceive you, they can make you wear a mask, they can make you take a vaccine, they can wreck your economy, shut down your business. So that's the whole purpose right there of the network news. It's to be able to manipulate your emotions and control the narrative. So they're not doing that. They could easily, if every network news was showing what Israel is doing on the air every day, if every cable network had a death toll of how many people Israel has killed, if every major news outlet had the death toll and the red alert and showed all the destruction in Gaza, showed all the destruction in Lebanon, Syria, West Bank, Golan Heights, all of it, there was just a mayor, I think it was outside of Jerusalem or Galilee, an Israeli who is like crying on air. He's like, the IDF just killed all my people. He's on Israeli television, literally bawling his eyes out. He's in a sweatshirt, and he's like, I don't understand. Israel just killed all of my people. They just wiped out our entire land. There's nothing left. We have nothing. Israel just bombed us. We're Israelis. We're Christians. We're Jews. We worship every day. We just got blown up by Israel. I'm the only one left here. Look, and it's all just, rubble in the background. If all the network news was showing you that 24/7, showing you the death toll, showing you the dead kids, showing you all of that, then guess what? All the American people would say, oh my gosh, this is awful. What is Israel doing? We can't do this. But they're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're not allowed to do that. If they're going to do that, they're going to say that about Iran, as we have seen. So that's to control your emotions. That's to manipulate your emotions and control the narrative. So when they have a Tucker Carlson that talks about what Israel is doing, when they have a Candace Owens that talks about what Israel is doing, when they have a Nick Fuentes that talks about what Israel is doing, when they have a alternative news media that goes live every day that talks about what Israel is doing, well, now all of a sudden they're worried they can lose the narrative. And they already have lost the narrative. So now it's all about your emotions. That's what it's all about. So if you get the American people emotional about what Israel is doing in Gaza, if you get the American people emotional about what Israel is doing in Lebanon, now all of a sudden the game changes. So that's why you can't trust Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes or Owen Schroyer. You can't trust them. And so they run their smear campaigns. They run their attacks because you can't trust them. They're the bad guys. And it's all for foreign interests. But that's what the entire purpose is, to manipulate your emotions and control the narrative. And if there is a healthy alternative media that is countering the narrative and countering the propaganda-based, the purpose is to control your emotions, well, then all of a sudden they risk losing everything. And so that's why you see the coordinated hit campaigns on Candace Owens. That's why you see the coordinated hit campaigns on Tucker Carlson. That's why you see the coordinated hit campaigns on Megyn Kelly, because they're pushing back on the narrative. And now they are also tapping into that emotional aspect where people are actually seeing what Israel is doing and they're saying, oh my gosh, that hurts me. I don't like that. And so that's why they're panicked. And it doesn't even matter what you think about these individuals. It doesn't matter whether you like these individuals or not. That's the phenomenon that is taking place right now. The mainstream corporate media has had control of the narrative and control of your emotions for your entire lives. And now there is an alternative media. There is an independent media that is competitive with that, and really in 10 years will be bigger than that. The alternative media will be bigger than network media in 10 years. That is a fact. The trend is already happening, but that's kind of, you get into the whole boomer divide. The boomers still rely on the network news for the most part. So this is why they're panicked. They're probably going to do some new wave of censorship. They might just outright start arresting people and just throwing them in jail. That's how corrupt this whole thing is. And you have to understand something about what the Israeli regime is up to right here. They are full commit, folks. In case you haven't noticed, the Israeli regime, whatever their agenda is, Greater Israel, whatever the final agenda for them is, they are fully committed. They will kill whoever gets in their way. They will demolish entire countries if they have to. They will buy up every single politician, every single member of the media that they possibly can. They're all in. And they're betting that they can get enough control over the media and the politicians that they can control the narrative and control the emotions. But it's not working. It's not working. So you have to understand they're going to do something next. They will do something. The Israeli interests in this war will do anything to keep this thing going. They will do anything to accomplish their Greater Israel project. I think it's pretty obvious at this point. And so you have to understand, this sounds a little far-fetched. This sounds a little extreme. Sure, of course it does. It is. But do you really think a country that just killed thousands, tens of thousands of children, that just wiped out entire civilizations, do you really think that they give a damn about you? Have you not figured this out yet? Whatever it is you think that's extreme about what Israel might be doing in the West, censoring people, attacking people, propaganda campaigns, buying your politicians, buying the media. Folks, that's like an inch in the miles that they're willing to go. They have completely demolished entire civilizations. Israel has completely demolished entire civilizations, hundreds of thousands of people killed, millions of people displaced, and they don't even bat an eye. They don't even feel a scintilla of guilt. You really think that they wouldn't lobby as much as they can, leverage as much as they can to censor people in America, to arrest people in America, or who knows, make sure people in America can never talk again? Get real. Wake up. If they're willing to wipe out an entire civilization, if they're willing to kill hundreds of thousands of people, if they're willing to displace millions of people, believe me, they're willing to do whatever it takes here as well, in case you haven't noticed. And that's the big betrayal from Trump. That's the big betrayal from Trump, where it's like, hey, if you want to support Israel and you want to give them the green light in the Middle East, fine. But no, no. It's not that we're just going to let Israel operate as they please in the Middle East. We're going to remind Americans that is their top priority. And we're going to bully Americans that if they don't support that they're an anti-Semite. And we're going to sign laws that make anti-Semitism illegal. So now you're going to jail. And that's your first warning, bud. Oh. But don't you dare. This is the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations. Don't you dare ask about the double standard on who gets nukes in the Middle East. This gets wild, though. This is like, you are in unreal levels of, this is not even propaganda. This is outright beyond lying. I don't even know what you call this. This is the most unreal level of lying and propaganda that you will witness probably all year.
Everyone knows that Israel is a nuclear power. If you say no, Fa'nunu, who fled Israel to London, and he gave that important interview with the Times of London, and he was kidnapped back to Israel and was arrested for 18 years. Why Israel has the right to acquire nuclear weapons, but no other Middle Eastern countries has that same right? Thank you.
One should ask himself about every nation who is bringing stabilization to the area and who is bringing chaos. Israel is a stabilizing force in the region. We want peace. Allow me to answer that.
Israel is a stabilizing force in the Middle East. Israel is a peaceful nation in the Middle East. I mean, folks, I just, this is so ridiculous. You know, I mean, this is like you get caught in your neighbor's bedroom with your neighbor's wife. You know, you're both naked in bed. And, the neighbor gets home and he says, "What are you doing in there?" You're like, "Oh, hey. This is a professional massage." Like, really? Like, you guys are in the covers here, naked. Oh, yeah, just a friendly massage, just a professional massage. I'm just working on my masseuse techniques. That's all. It's like, really? Totally naked? It looks like you're a little, your little friend is, he's standing over there. Sure, this is a massage? Clothes all over the ground. It's like, heard some shuffling, heard some moaning, and you come in and it's just a massage. Oh, yeah, you just caught your wife cheating on you with your neighbor, and you catch them, and then they say, "Oh, no, it's just a massage." It's like, Israel is a stabilizing force. They're bombing 7 countries. Israel is working for peace. They're killing hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, this is outrageous. And again, it's just like, why do people stand for this? If you want to support Israel, if you want to have Jewish causes and the Jewish people as your big thing, fine, that's your prerogative. I'm not stopping you. Don't sit here and lie to me. Don't sit here and tell me that it's rain and you're pissing on my face. To say that Israel is a stabilizing force in the Middle East is like telling you that the sun is cold. To say that Israel is the nation of peace in the Middle East is like telling me, LeBron James is not good at basketball. It's just such a farce. It's such a lie on its face. And honestly, this is why the Israeli cause is losing so badly. This is why right here, why Israel is the most unpopular country in the world, and why the issue of our foreign relations with Israel is now a top issue in our country. It'd be one thing if it was happening and we were just like, okay, hands off. Israel's our ally. We're going to kind of stay out of it, maybe try to negotiate some peace, but we're not getting involved. We're not going to do bombs. We're not going to do boots on the ground. That's not going to be us. You might be able to get away with this stuff. If you laid off all the anti-Semitism claims, if you laid off all the threats for prison for anti-Semitism and boycotting Israel, it's like you could it would probably not be such a big deal, even with all the foreign aid that we give them. But then you come out here and spit in our face. You come out here and piss in our face and say that the country that is killing hundreds of thousands of people and bombing 7 countries and displacing millions of people, that they're the stabilizing force, that they're the peaceful force. That is an outrageous lie. That is offensive, so blatantly offensive to our intelligence. That's why you're losing. And so now that you're just such a blatant liar, why would I trust you with anything else? If you're going to come out here and tell me the most ridiculous lie that I've ever heard in my life, why would I trust you with anything else? And why would I not just assume that's all you are, is a dirty, rotten liar that is trying to take advantage of me, my country, my blood, and my treasure? And that's exactly what it is. And of course, that is the $1 million question. And they have no answer. Why does Israel get nukes illegally and no other country get nukes? Why is that? They can't answer it. They can't answer it. So they just go right back to the big lie. Israel is the peaceful nation. Israel is the stabilizing nation. Oh, yeah, just ignore your own eyes. Just ignore the reality. It ain't working anymore. This is hilarious. ADL releases ranking system for how video games control anti-Semitism. Huh? What are we talking about? The Anti-Defamation League releases a ranking system that evaluates how leading video games control anti-Semitism. The ranking examines in-game abilities such as whether gamers can block or mute other players, report other players, and if platforms allow participants to use anti-Semitic names. All meant to rein in anti-Semitism. The best ranked games, Fortnite, Call of Duty, Minecraft, and GTA. The worst ranked games, Clash Royale, Counter-Strike 2, and PUBG Battlegrounds. I don't know anything about any of these games. At least, I mean, I know what I've heard of some of them, but I don't play any of them. You know, it's so, first of all, this is just clown world. This is just ridiculous. And this is so, it's so naggy. It's so nitpicky. This is why people are sick of it. Just leave us alone. Like, just leave us alone. Go cry somewhere else. Go play victim somewhere else. Go try to manipulate algorithms and speech somewhere else. We're sick of it. They just can't help themselves. Always got to invade everything. It's like, it really is like Sheila Bravowski in South Park. It's like Kyle's mom in South Park. That was the big joke about Kyle's mom in South Park, and that's exactly what it is. Like, she just can't help but get into everyone's business and ruin everybody's good time. How many of you listening? The best example probably had to be Halo 3, I would say, at least from my experience, probably Halo 3. How many people listening, you're my generation. You grew up playing Halo 3 online. We played it in high school. We played it in college. Who remembers those chat rooms? I mean, you'd have like a 30-second window while the game was loading. You'd have like a 30-second window to talk trash. It would be like an open forum, and everybody would be in there. And you'd have like a 30-second window to talk trash. And I mean, it was just like, I mean, look, do you endorse that type of stuff? Maybe not. But it was like part of the thing. It was like part of the culture. It was part of the fun. You get in there with your friends and you talk trash. You get in there with your friends and you shout obscenities at some stranger on the internet you're never going to meet. It was funny. It was fun. It was part of the culture. Now here comes the ADL. You can't say that. Here comes the ADL. I need to mute this chat room. You can't say that. That word is banned. You're not allowed to say it. Like, what is this, man? What is this crap? And it doesn't help. Let's just be honest. It doesn't help that it's always a Jew doing it. You're not helping yourselves. Like, people just want to have a good time without some guy showing up with a little hat saying, you can't say that. Like, what? Hey, dude, I'm trying to play a video game here, all right? All right, this guy over here on the other side, okay? Slippery Willie 420 over here just called me the N-word, so I got to call him a faggot, all right? So can you just buzz off? You're not allowed to say that. Make sure you don't say anything anti-Semitic. Hey, listen, take your tiny hat and get out of here, please. All right, I got to do some trash talking here. Do you mind? Like, oh, no, you can't say that. We're shutting this chat room down. Guys, I think I've had enough. I think I've had enough. Let me see. Here, let's do this. Let's hit a couple things, and then we'll go to the super chats today. Robot goes berserk in California restaurant, dragged away by staff after smashing tableware. I kind of like this little guy, actually. I got the video here. You know, I think he was just trying to have a good time. I think this robot, I think he was misunderstood. I think he was lost in the moment. You know, he's young, right? He's still growing. He's still maturing. He's lost in the moment here. And he's just trying to have fun, guys. Look at this.
be a rapper, but don't gotta change. Stuck in my waist, so I'm moving my beans. Like a million views in a day. There's so many ways to get paid. I charge him, but he begged me to stay. Hey, I'm not staying, I just wanna play. And the party, I just wanna rock. Bring them to the bus, they talk. She a baddie, she knows she a 10. She a baddie with her baddie.
You know, that's actually crazy. I mean, yeah, look. We could talk about the, dystopian potentials here, obviously. I think that goes without saying. But, I will say it's funny. He's sitting here trying to dance. But here's what's great. They're dragging him along, and you can see he's like walking back, or he, I don't know why I call it a he. I don't know, whatever. He's like walking backwards. That was an interesting little thing. How do you guys feel about the robot? Melania did the big robot thing. I'm not a Luddite. I'm not inherently anti-robot. I actually see that. I kind of want one. I think that's kind of funny. And then you say, do you give your robot a name? So you give your robot a name. What would you name your robot? You know what? I would name mine Terminator. I'd say, okay, here's Terminator. And Terminator just decided to dance, and he smashed my table up. Say, Terminator, that is a bad robot. Clean up your mess. Hey, Terminator, clean up your mess. Clean up your mess. And then go start my Xbox. I need to talk some trash online. Okay? Listen here, Terminator. These little outbursts, they're kind of cute. They're kind of funny. But now you're going to have to clean up. You're going to have to clean up this mess. And then go turn on my Xbox because I need to do a little trash talking.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Okay, we're going to do bonus time today, guys. So you might need a little extra jolt. You might need a little extra energy when you're going into overtime. So go to blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. It's the official coffee of the Owen Report. They have the best instant coffee out there. It's really not even close. I don't even think you can call anything else instant coffee. This actually tastes like coffee, drinks like coffee. It'll take care of that coffee desire that you have. Premium instant coffee, blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. They've also got more than 30 flavors in the single-serve pods. They've got also bags, whole bean or ground, light roast, medium roast, dark roast, however you like it. It's all at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. And with coupon code Owen, you can get 20% off your first purchase. You heard that right. With coupon code Owen, 20% off your first purchase at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. All right, you know that music means bonus time. All right, as we do here to close out the show every day, we go to our super chats. And we thank everybody. We thank everybody that tunes in on YouTube. We thank everybody that follows us on YouTube. We really appreciate that. Numbers are going up. And for that, we are thankful. Okay. Here we go. Tiberius Rex. First time I'm seeing you in here. Audio, brother. Yes. I'm sorry, guys. We had an audio issue out of the gates. I have no idea why. Actually, what I think happened was, so Shirley, love knots. Thank you, everybody. Well, I don't think you really care. I think there's some weird thing. When I sign off, I'm gonna have to restart my computer. It's trying to push one of those update things on me. And I think because it's also on the browser, it reset my audio settings, and so it wasn't pulling audio from my soundboard. So that's what it was. But I thank you guys for monitoring the audio, because I will say, producer DMT was not on it. No, He was not on it. And, you know, I was going to be very complimentary of producer DMT today. It was deserved. He made his InfoWars debut today. He was on, or yesterday rather, he was on the American Journal, which is currently being hosted by Rex Jones and his partner Tim. And they also host The Gray Area, where I was a guest. And DMT had his first InfoWars debut yesterday. It was a good segment. And, you know, he would always give me a hard time because I never invited him on my show. And I said, you know what? That's like cheating. That would be like cheating if I did it. So now you got on. You didn't even need me. But I needed him today on the audio. And, I mean, he's getting a big head now, you know? That headline on Drudge, given the amount of false flag warnings, is the only story that should be talked about. There are hordes of people packed like sardines at major airports during a war. Yeah, you're talking about the TSA lines, and ICE hasn't really helped. It looks like what happens is it's really, really bad in the morning, and then by the evening it kind of gets back to normalcy for whatever reason. I don't know if that's the people aren't showing up in the morning shifts, or maybe there's supposed to be more there, or I don't know. But it's a disaster at TSA. It's a disaster trying to fly. Yeah, I mean, I had a couple people that were looking to come down here, and we were trying to schedule dates, and I said, look, if you don't want to fly until after this TSA issue, I don't blame you one bit. So it's a disaster. Yeah, well, we can't build a bridge. Can't fix the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Can't get airport security. But don't worry. We will have plenty of war in the Middle East. We'll have no shortage of that. There'll be no issue there. And by the way, you know, I'm sick of having to address this, but let's just do it again because I see it all the time. It's so funny watching people freak out because I have the Drudge Report on my side screen. They're like, oh, don't you know Drudge sold us out? Or don't you know Drudge is this or Drudge is that? You just don't get it, man. First of all, it's an homage to the Rush Limbaugh set, if you haven't figured that one out. Second of all, there's probably still, you can talk trash on Drudge since obviously Matt sold it or whatever years ago. So I don't really care about the Drudge criticism. There is still no better visual news aggregation site than Drudge. It just doesn't exist. But third of all, and this is where people just, I don't know how you can't understand this. I do news aggregation. This is a news show. Drudge is a news source. So is CNN. So is Fox. So is Red State. So is Reuters. I can go on and on. These are news sources. I cover news. I don't know why that's such a hard concept. And why do you think I do the date every time before I go on air? So there's a documenting of this is when the show was live. That's also what the Drudge Report is. Because if you notice, people take the clips from this show and they upload them. You have no idea when the show was. You have no idea the date of the show, but you might get an idea from the stories on the Drudge Report next to me. So there you go. DZ, have you thought of using a green screen for the background? War is working at silencing the Epstein files while the Dems investigate Charlie Kirk. If they get power, they could find stuff to lock up GOP. Well, a lot of points there. Yeah, the Epstein files, huh? That's gone away conveniently. Will the Dems investigate Kirk? I don't know. That's an interesting one. Obviously, you're talking about the assassination. That's interesting to me. I never thought of that. So I guess I would say no. But I think they'll find stuff to get Trump for sure. And I think the GOP will turn on Trump to save themselves. Green screen for the background. It's an interesting thought. I do have a green screen. I could lay out a green screen behind me. I don't like the I don't like the look of a green screen because the borders like on me or on the different parts of the set here like kind of bleed when you do a green screen. I've talked about what I want to do at the studio, but that's probably a ways off. The one thing I have thought about doing, I don't know, I kind of like the whole garage door thing. I think it's kind of funny. It's kind of like a little local culture of the show, the whole garage door thing. It's kind of funny to me. The one thing I have thought about is getting a giant screen behind me to do a customizable background. That is the one thing. If I'm going to do anything to this studio before I move studios, hopefully, if I'm going to do anything, that might be the one thing that I do. So I wouldn't do a green screen. I just put an actual screen behind me that I could customize and then just do something else with the background. But now it's like you're kind of going into that TV studio arena, which I don't like. I prefer the radio style arena. So we'll see. But I will say, and this is just the truth, because I was actually thinking about this the other day. Some projects I've talked about, some fun stuff like doing an event, like doing a party event, and like what type of overhead and stuff, and like having to do the logistics of that might look like. This show goes as far as the audience takes it. That's basically where this is at. I am not in this business. I'm not doing this to get rich, and I'm certainly not rich. Don't get me wrong. I mean, who doesn't want a bigger house? Who doesn't want a fancier car? Okay, so I'm not going to act like. I mean, you know, I am a free market capitalist, but that's not the drive of this show. I'm perfectly content as long as I can pay my bills and do the show. It doesn't really bother me. The bigger this show gets and the bigger budget I have, all of that is going to go into the show. The bigger the show gets, the bigger the budget gets, that is all going to go back into the show. That's how this is going to go. And actually, somebody asked if I was going to do another fundraiser, and I said no, I don't have any plans to, because I just, you know, I don't need it. If I was going to do that, it would be for a specific purpose. So I would say like this. I would say, like, if somebody gave me an estimate to build a screen behind me, because I don't really think I could do it with just a normal TV. I think I'd actually have to get like either a customized LED board, which it wouldn't be that big, but it would probably cost like 10 grand or something. I'd be like, hey, I got an estimate on this piece of equipment. This is what it costs. And then do like a fundraiser for that. The trajectory that we're on is good, but it's not like we're not making millions of dollars here. But what will happen if the show gets bigger? Let's say we double in a year from now. We're about to do 6 months. Let's say we double in a year from now, and the numbers are 100,000 subscribers, 50,000 plus per show. I think obviously that would increase the budget a little bit. I'd have to start making decisions. What are the priorities? Are the priorities getting a bigger studio? Are the priorities hiring more crew? So this is the stuff we think about. But just know that the entire purpose here is not for me to get rich. I'm not rich. I don't necessarily have a desire to get rich. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to act like I wouldn't like a big house. I wouldn't like a fancy car, but that's not what motivates me. The bigger the budget here gets, my paycheck is not going up. The bigger the budget here gets, the show is expanding. That's how this is going to go. So eventually I'd like to build a bigger studio in response to your question, though. Speaking of baseball, Cardinals open against the Rays, an AL team. What a joke. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, they've ruined the game. Yeah, why aren't you opening against a Central Division team? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Did they win, though? I was thinking about just doing a fun opening day bet for the Cardinals just because, you know, it's fun. Did the Cardinals win today, guys? I should just ask my dad. He was there. My dad was at the game listening to the show. How do I get a... Oh, it's still on? Cardinals are winning in the ninth. They're about to close it out. Should have made that bet. What are you going to do? The left is grateful at second chance of life. Oh, yeah. They got it all right. And they're taking advantage. Spooky Maze. Steven Crowder has become a propaganda mouthpiece. Interesting. Dustvault, I love when the libs think we support them now because we don't support Trump anymore. Peter Griffin, whoa, what, whoa. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying earlier when I talked about, if you don't support Trump, you're a liberal. It's like, well, supporting Trump isn't a policy here, so calm it down. MAGA pilled to Christ pilled. Leftists hate Trump because they think he's far right. I don't like him because he's not far right enough. We are not with those crazy race communists. Yeah, and that's what they try to do. Woofy, can we even call it stealing anymore? When Republicans refuse to do anything about elections, Republicans use the same corrupt election rigging. I'll tell you this. If the Republicans win in the midterms, they're going to be the ones that are accused of cheating. So that'll be a fun thing to deal with. Shapiro's eyebrows. A Democrat just flipped Florida House in Mar-a-Lago, an area that was redrawn in 2022 to favor Republicans. That's how bad this is for Trump. I forgot that they gerrymandered that district, and then it flipped 20 points to Democrats. Wow. You can't call Candace grifter while using his name. What was that about? Economy great, Bondi great, winning war, COVID shot saves lives, Clintons are good. If I tell you this, wouldn't you bust out laughing? Trump for comedian 2026. I did just laugh, so you got me there. Teep USA is more interested in someone taking the fall than they do actually finding out what happened to Charlie. They're not invested in the investigation. They're only invested in the outcome. You know, that is yeah. I've thought that before. And I've wondered why. Right? I've wondered why. Because to me, from my psychological analysis, the why is that they're actually afraid of the truth, which is what I don't understand. It's like, if you think Tyler Robinson did it, okay. But it's like this demand that everybody else has to think it too. And yet there's been no trial. There's been no, they haven't presented the evidence. They haven't even done a press conference. Obviously, there's holes in the narrative, to put it lightly. And it's just like, what are they so upset about? I don't understand. What are they so scared of? Because that's what it represents to me. It's like, what are you scared of finding out if it wasn't Tyler Robinson, and why? What is the issue? Wouldn't you want to know who actually did it? Like, wouldn't you want there to be investigations into all the different angles? And what are you so afraid of, the people that don't believe it? What are you so afraid of? If there are investigations, what's gonna be revealed here that has these people so afraid? I just don't get it. So, hey, you believe the official narrative, you believe Tyler Robinson did it, that's fine. But what is this weird intimidation, bullying, fear campaign that, oh, no, he did it, you're not allowed to question it, and if you do question it, you're against Charlie? It's like that is the complete opposite of the reality here. It's very strange. It's very odd. It's very suspicious. Daniel Reese, the war benefits America. How? You dirty anti-Semite. How dare you? Bay Area, save our children. Peaceful protest, April 11th, Santana Row, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Stay the course to righteousness, regardless of what happens. Christ is with us. Sounds like you do that. Is that a Saturday? It sounds like you're out there a lot on Saturdays. Employee Strong for Life. So there you go. If you're out there in the Bay Area. JV Free. Give me AJ number. Must reunite you. World needs it. Every day with JV. All right. Keep it up. Welcome to Electric Boogaloo. When are you going to visit Trumpelstein story? I mean, I can only guess what you're talking about. But I'll tell you what. Let me look this up right now. Let me actually look this up right now for you. Let me see. Well, it looks like, is this it? Yes. It looks like the book arrives April 4th. The book arrives April 4th. I have to say, this has actually been a big letdown because I ordered the book. I ordered the Leslie Epstein book on March 10th. And it still hasn't come. And by the way, the hardcover of this book is $1,000. $1,000. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Because Trumpelstein, isn't that the character in the book? It's like another one of the Ingersoll Lockwood deals, guys. Which, by the way, those books weren't cheap either. I wonder if they're more expensive now. The Barron Trump collection. Now you can get it pretty cheap. So they started republishing all the Ingersoll Lockwood books. But I already got those and read those. But you can get the whole Barron Trump collection now. They republished the whole thing. And then we find out about this Leslie Epstein book that I purchased in March. It still hasn't arrived. So I'll let you know if that's what you're talking about. If not, you're going to think I'm nuts for now. Tete, rip Noela Castillo Ramos of Spain. Training, working out does not solve our problems, but it certainly gives us the ability to better cope, respond to them. Movement is life. Owen Schroyer's Gold Labubu. What is a Labubu? Do I even want to know? It looks like a Pokemon in your picture there. I dig that. I'm the golden one. I'm the chosen one, and I'm 24 karat gold, only one in the world, babes. You guys are fun. Michael, make America gay already. BBL 2028. Is that a Caroline Levitt campaign? Jen Common. 1 trillion erased from the market today. Since Dow now at 45K, can someone ask Bondi if we can talk about Epstein again? Way below her 50K line in the sand. Yeah, market was way down today. I'll be honest, guys. I bought some defense contractor stocks today. I did. Because I think the stock market was down today, and that's always a good time if you're a day trader, if you're a swing trader. That's always a good time to buy. I couldn't help it, and I looked at the data, and they were all they're basically, when I look at the defense contractor stocks right now, to me it looks like they're getting ready for like a 3-month bull run. And if they get this package, if they get this $200 billion package, it won't stop there. But that'll mostly go to these defense contractors. So I think there's going to be a boost there. Are you a bad person? Am I a bad person? I've been avoiding it. I told you I've been avoiding it. I've been avoiding all the defense contractor stocks because of this war that I don't support. But it was just sitting out there today. It was just sitting out there today, so juicy. With that big market tank today. So I just went ahead and I think it's about to make a bull run. I think it's just unavoidable. If they get that $200 billion, forget about it. Trump knows if he goes to CPAC, he'll get booed. AOC can twerk us out of debt. Oh my God. I don't even want to say it. She would make a bunch, maybe the most. Maybe the most. I'll tell you what, actually. Since you said that, let me see if I can find this. Yeah, here you go. Since you said that, OnlyFans model faces 6 felony charges over alleged dating app burglaries. So this girl here, I guess she would trick these guys and say she'd come over for some fun or whatever. 28-year-old Adva Lavi, known as Mia Ventura. So she changed her name. Why would she change her name? Accusations against Lavi, who has appeared in Playboy and Penthouse magazine and claims to be the first ever Israeli OnlyFans model. Wow. There it is. The first Israeli OnlyFans model, and she's facing 6 felony charges. Good branding. Right on. Oh, and did you see Dave Smith embarrass Adam Sosnick? You know MAGA is in the toilet when guys like Adam are Trump's biggest supporters. I don't get the whole Adam thing. I mean, obviously he's friends or business partners, right, with Patrick Bet David. So I guess that's how he gets into the podcast world. But it's like, has the guy ever said anything relevant or substantial or knowledgeable or influential at all as far as politics are concerned? The only time I ever see him popping up is, when he's in some vehement defense of Israel, or he's doing his religious stuff with the hats and the armbands and everything else. And I did see that on Piers Morgan. I saw Dave and Adam, and I'm sitting there watching it. It's probably the first time I've ever seen Adam in long form. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, what? Does this guy even know anything? Does he know anything? Like he never said anything about the actual topics. He doesn't seem to know anything politically. And then it's like every time he got the stage, he used it to insult Dave, or like he was literally telling stories about like bullying. It's like, what in the hell? Very strange stuff. I don't get that, honestly. That was a weird one. But, like I said, they're in an indefensible position. Jody Kitchens, please bring back the slicked back hair power move. I don't think so. What do you guys think of the hair today? We're still trying to work out the perfect. I kind of like what it ended up with today. I liked it. I really liked what it was like before the panel yesterday. But the problem is with that, the stuff I use, the product that I used to kind of get that look yesterday, after an hour, it makes my hair like frizzy and wild. And so it's really not a good long-term solution. So I tried something different today, and I like it. It's not as bouncy and curly, but it's holding a lot better, and it's not getting frizzy. We're still working on it. This is new. But I don't think the slick back, I don't know. It's not really the best look for me. JM Dog Patriot. So do you think the Butler shooting was fake? I'm starting to believe that. It worked out so perfectly to make him anti-deep state when he was in on it. Here's my thing. And I will say that I'm actually hearing a lot of that lately, I will tell you. I'm hearing a lot of people now say that they think that was fake. My issue with that is, in order to believe that it was fake, you have to address the Corey Contemporary situation, who got shot and died. And I think a couple other people got hit too. We were always a little confused about what went down as far as the shots were concerned, obviously. And there were big debates on that. So the issue I have is that people actually did get shot, And if you're going to go with the thing was staged, then you would have to include that those individuals were also part of it. And I am not ready or willing to go there. I suppose you could say that somebody did fire real shots to make it look real. I guess you could reach that conclusion. I'm not willing to go there either. But I will say, I'm of the same mind now that you look at the direction of this administration, you look at the direction of Trump, I can't help but think it. I mean, it's just, I can't help but think it. I can't help but wonder. And Jesse Ventura, I think it was on Piers Morgan, he said it's fake. That was hilarious. Have you ever heard of a blade job? So I don't know. It's just the whole thing is weird, man. So now I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was fake, but I'm not. There's too many other factors for me to go there. There's too many other factors at play. So I'm not ready to go there, but I can't help think it. And I have a lot of people telling me now they do think it was fake. I'm getting a lot of that now. But yeah, Jesse Ventura was classic on Piers Morgan. And he's teasing something. I don't know what. But Jesse Ventura is teasing a big announcement coming up soon. So that's going to be fun. Second Amendment is non-negotiable for me. Like what? From my cold dead hands? Ben Eyebrows endorsed Zio sellout Byron Donalds for Florida. I saw that. He was on the show. And Ben said, Shapiro goes, Byron Donalds will be a great candidate for Israel. I know that he will be a great supporter and candidate for the state of Israel. I'm sorry. Is Byron Donalds running for the governor of Israel? What, did I miss something here? That's wild. Lights, camera, clown shoes. Honk, honk. U.S. becoming low IQ. Low IQ leaders win. Ben Shapiro endorses H1 Byron Donalds. Obsession with islands isn't helping the rumors. DT's helicopter press conference. The crazy thing is AOC and Bernie fighting for privacy. That was our thing. Don't tread on me, but Trump loves his AI donors. Make America big brother. I'm telling you, yeah, you get it. You get it. We're just giving the Democrats the win on this, and I don't get it. It's crazy. We just keep winning. Kofefe. Did you see those videos the White House is putting out? What is going on, man? The White House is putting up pure slop on X. Or what is it? They had that one video where it's like some woman holding the camera and it's like 3 seconds of her feet. And then they delete that and then they post some weird glitch video. I have no idea what's going on. Co-create with me. The ego has landed. Seriously, what are those videos? Like, what is that? It's like, remember when Trump put the windmill video from Israel up and it had 9/11 in it? I don't know. Our only hope is that Q is real. That's it. That's the only hope we have. And maybe that's them trying to tease that or fake it. I don't know. Derpy Derp, honest question. Do you think they've drugged Trump like Kanye's trainer, Pasternak, drugged Kanye? Would explain demeanor and behavior. I don't know, but I will say this. Well, yes, they have drugged Trump. Not in the traditional sense. Trump's addiction is money. Trump's addiction is money and fame. And so that's how they've drugged him. But I don't think anybody's actually drugging him with any chemical substances. But I will say, I can't even imagine, because I do think about how Trump is able to operate when he can't trust anybody. And then you look at who he's trusting and you're just like, how could you make that decision? Big Don, Trump's admin is like watching a schizo with Down syndrome masturbate. Thank you for that. It's a train wreck, weird, and totally retarded. Okay, well, you got it in. There you go. I hope that was fun. That's enough about me. What do you think about me? Stephen Hightower. The sad thing is, if they do convict Trump, J.D. Vance is going to be holding the biggest bag of crap. All the cabinet members will be impeached with all this corruption, and this war will screw the U.S. for years. It's starting to go that way. It's starting to go that way. When Trump Sr. lost his marbles, they had him sign fake papers and answer fake phone calls. Can you guess what they're doing with Trump? From Ian Mercurio. Well, Trump is like on TV 24/7, so I don't even know when they could do that to him. Jose Navarro, Iran already showing videos waiting with drones. Iran is putting up weird videos too. At least the Iran videos, like you can get, like they make sense. The Trump, the administration videos are like weird cuts and compilations and slop. I don't know. Owen Jones Schroyer, we are going to rename the Washington Monument the Trump Monument. Nobody even remembers who Washington is or what he did, and we are going to make it gold and the best in the world. I think, okay. We are going to rename the Washington Monument the Trump Monument. After all, Washington, kind of boring, kind of old, kind of stale. Nobody really cares about him. It's all about Trump now. Nobody even remembers who Washington is. I didn't even know who he was or what he did. And we are going to make it gold. It's going to be the best in the world. Thank you very much. Sam White is putting Dems in the solution, though. Well, it's like an accelerationist mindset. It's like a burn the Republican Party down until they represent us mindset. I don't know if you can say it's a solution, but we're not insane. Do the same thing over and expect different results. Owen was dating a Brazilian at Mizzou. No, actually, she was at St. Louis University. Liberal women always hate their own country. Weird. It's some guy. Yeah. Jimmy Dean. Zios can pressure the 1% to align interests while the 99% are reduced to a compliant, economically trapped class. Western Iranians are Mossad shills. Boiling point. Court got carried over to Monday. It's already bad for the Bongino Stooge team, though. It's getting dramatic. We got subplots in the super chats. Michael, the pendulum swings left to right, but the government is on both sides. Yeah, it swings and it gets closer to our throat. Roger Martinez, great show. Thank you, Roger. Wotan, I'm going to say the gamer word. The gamer word. Bad Boy Channel, keep rocking the truth, bro. Thank you. Thank you, Bad Boy Channel. Check out the Bad Boy Channel. For your robot fund. What are they, like 10 grand? The Tesla Optimus, right? It's like 10K. Probably not a bad deal, really, if it cleans your house and everything. Just don't spy on me, bro. Red Light Meat and Pizza. I don't see Blackout Coffee on Bongino's Rumble sponsor in the Read More section anymore. No green screen. Keep the garage door partly open. Just enough to let the light creak in, right? Deprogram TV. No more news. Should be your only news source. You're still wasting our time. Adam Green has been right. When is he on the show? Judeo Matrix Red Pill. We haven't had an Adam Green shout out in a while. There you go, Adam. Employee Strong for Life. Why don't we do a fitness event? Like fitness? No, I'm not going to do that. I guess we could do a fitness event. I don't even know what that means. Who does a fitness? Like a run? I don't do long distance running. Like a basketball competition? Will the new garage studio have a ballroom? It will have a beautiful ballroom, big and gold, but it's caught up in legalese. Let's do a membership. Call it Coffee with Owen. A membership. A membership. For what exactly? 30-odd 6. End of story. Alex got mittens. Well, end of story or beginning of story? I was trying to point out hypocrisy of them calling Candace a grifter while grifting by using his name with the name of their show. They're grifting off Charlie's name is what you're saying. Work, train, eat, sleep. Dogs now added protest every Saturday. NorCal full of zombies. My brother shared an eye-opener for me today. Most frogs don't know when they are being boiled. The boiling frog analogy. Jordan Walker, Rogan needs to just do it and have Nick on. Well, Rogan's getting a little more anti-Trump lately, directionally, so. MXCVVIII. What is that, like 2026? What am I looking at here? How is Polymarket sponsorship not being a sellout? Explain it to me like I'm a weetard. Well, I did explain it. I'll explain it again. When I left InfoWars and went independent, Polymarket reached out and they wanted to sponsor me. And at that time, I didn't really have any other thing to offer except my social media account. And so, I don't want to get too much into this because there's a lot of people out there that have contracts, obviously. But they said they wanted to work with me. I just went independent, so it was like, okay, I can have an opportunity here. I would have been dumb not to take it. But I will just say I have full creative control. I will just leave it at that. I will have full creative control. So I don't know how that would be considered a sellout when nobody can tell me what to say. So there you go. And quite frankly, the bottom line is that is helping to grow this show, because that contract is actually going to the company. So I don't even get it. But nobody tells me what to say. I can say whatever I want. And I can understand issues. That's fair. But I will say, I have been offered dozens of social media deals, and that is the only one I took because that's the only one where I was able to get full creative control. Full creative control. I've turned down dozens of social media offers. I mean, folks, I've passed on social media deals. They can't even believe. They're like, you're the only one that said no to this. This is outrageous. And I'm like, well, I want creative control. If I can't have creative control over what I'm saying, I'm not taking the deal. But with some of these things, you're not allowed creative control because the whole message is what they're paying for. They're paying for the message that they want you to post on your account. So everyone else is taking that deal. And you can see when they all post the same thing, I rejected all of those deals. And I was the first one in the media to call that out 2 years ago. I think that's a fair explanation. Speaking of Ben Shapiro, what's with the eyebrows? Something. Those eyebrows were promised to him 3,000 years ago. Filthy, angry Irish peasant. Bro, when's the meme coin rug pulling coming out? Are you talking, am I going to do a meme coin? I have no interest in that. Patriots in control. TikTok. Sure they are. Dropped a penny. COVID 2.0 coming. I agree. I don't know if it's going to be a virus, but I think like the concept of centralized control and controlling the people, lockdowns, whatever it is, all these different, mandates that they push on us. I feel like something's coming. Maybe it's energy, war, whatever. Trump did it to us the last time, so he'll probably do it to us again. Why wouldn't we think that? Yeah, I think something big is coming. The Eagle has landed, a good movie. Never heard of that one. 1 of 1K. Every major union agreement ends in 2028. Something's got to give. Huh. NASA. Energy lockdowns coming. Trump is the AI surveillance superstate president, and the only hope, like you said, is Q is real or 1776. Yeah. Yep. The Owen Report. Word on the street is producer DMT was on your former employer and gave a masterclass in geopolitics. Owen Report debut coming. You see this? Do you see this? DMT is checked out. He's checked out of the show, guys. He does 1 hour on InfoWars, and now he doesn't even do his job anymore. And I was complimenting him today. We have an audio issue at the start of the show, nothing from DMT. I already addressed, I was complimentary of DMT's appearance on InfoWars. He wasn't even listening. Unbelievable betrayal. The audacity. My comment was symbolic to the disaster of this administration. Everyone that voted for it, including me, cannot defend it. His press conference are random babbling. Yeah, the whole press conference thing, the whole go on TV and just talk out of your ass every day. It's so old now. I can't even, it's obnoxious. It makes me want to come on here and like talk about baseball. No cortisol maxing for DMT, please. Hey, you. Voting for Democrats or Republicans is doing the same thing and expecting different results. They're all controlled. It's been a 50-50 split since the 80s. A lot of people are reaching a similar conclusion. And thanks for not entertaining these AJ agitators. Are there more than one? Won't go on your show while sleeping with the enemy. See? You get it. You get it. It's very highly questionable behavior. We could do a variety of methods of training. I do Pilates. We could engage people who suffer from lazy and inspire movement. Google Employ Strong. I'm happy to take this very seriously. You're going all the way. Owen, would you hire Alex? Now that is funny. Cowpoke Ranch. Obama was the best president of the 21st century. Oh. 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 That's going to do it. That's it. All right. Wait. We got a late entry here. Julia, no one can replace Rush, but you're the only one in the ballpark. Thank you. Thank you, Julia. How about this one for you? Mega Dittos. God bless, Godspeed. We'll see you tomorrow on a Friday.